No, I understand. It was wise of you to bring them here, Count. They'll receive the best treatment in all of Ustalar. Early signs of bleaching. This is the response to stimulus. An Iron Fang veteran? I think I recognize this. What brought him here? Now, for their admission records, may I have their names?
As we begin today, looking in from the outside of Briarstone Asylum, were you an observer?
You'd probably be a pile of flesh.
Formless wanderer outside the walls. You would see these great bay windows of the day room in the inpatient wing of the asylum, where many of the residents would spend much of their time. Even now, lined up before the window, facing out to what would be the shores of Briarstone Isle, are several fine stuffed chairs. One of them, even still, with an old woman sat upon it. It's everything around this scene that is wrong. At a glance, it might just seem like any other night. The room mostly dark, save for a single lantern and what dim light spills in from outside through a very cloudy day, but the figures crouched, huddled back in this room, away from the windows, are not just bloodied, but absolutely coated, drenched in this foul red liquid. A trace of it running all the way across the floor, sourced from a gory hole in the chest of this woman sat in the chair, staring listlessly out the window. Yellow mists still churn and whirl outside the glass, obscuring any view of the island or the coasts it once would have had. It is quiet inside, mostly. As we had left off, the group of you, a mixed degree of injured, had settled down here in this day room to lick your wounds, as it were. Tend to yourselves as you can with what bandages and magic you're able. There's a lot of magic.
I got lots of magic.
Cammy here. She seems to be quite good at this.
I think you would find Cammy seated on top of the coffee table with one knee propped up, and on her knee, blue, tongue extended, just right on her open eye, as she's looking down. Whoever I'd be healing first. It's gotta be one of you guys.
I need one.
How does everyone look?
I bruised. I got hit in the same place 4 times.
A little clubbed.
I received a singular rock.
Then I assume I'd be with MD maybe seated next to me, his palm kind of in my hand as I'm sort of tracing it, one lizard tongue sticking out of one eye, just quietly doing something.
The Blue's hand just sort of almost aimlessly tracing along, doing the same motion your finger is doing, almost like a puppeteer as you move.
I just go, oh, no, you're right.
I probably still look very bloody, but not bloodied at all.
You'll wash across the front. You and Easy looking markedly less horrifying than the rest of the party right now, for certain. Easy's got a bit of a splatter. He even changed his shoes, so...
Oh yeah, I had little boots on.
Shoes, pristine, fine.
Yeah, got no blood. I saw the whole thing.
Sitting there while she's doing that, I'm mouthing words. I'm talking, but no words are coming out of my mouth because I'm still mute. So you just see him mouthing the words for anyone who can read lips. That's creepy. That's weird. Okay, whatever. I just
She just, you don't have to thank me. It's okay. It's really okay.
I think Kemi is actually probably the most injured of the group right now.
Yes, she without a doubt is.
Even though it's really, I guess, hard to tell looking at any of you completely submerged in blood as you have been. It's hard to see individual injuries. But on your hand, there would be an area that shaped around like a bite where the blood had been smeared off, like something had bit and pulled it off of you. One of the few clean spots that you've got that clearly you had been sunk into pretty hard. And beyond that, you would just feel weary and sore. That strange, negative damage in Pathfinder is an interesting thing. It is just quite literally the antithesis of life. There's no physical manifestations of it, nothing you actually see. When you felt that little skeletal hand pull at you, that feeling that washed across you was, it's almost like that life flashes before your eyes moment, like you're almost looking.
What did I see?
From the rest of the campaign.
What?
It's about 6 minutes for you, but we'll get there. Almost that outside looking in, that like pulled out of your own body, out of body experience almost. As it's not pain really. It's almost just like a detachment. It's like you're tired.
Rub my eyes.
Which eye? The one with the tongue in it? Or the other one?
With the tongue, I just grind it in there.
While we're sitting here covered in blood, at some point when she takes a break from healing me, I'm gonna get up, take stock of the situation, because I don't think we've stopped to take stock. Go to the personal effects room, because I know they are piling up a bunch of stuff, and I'm assuming there's just discarded clothes. And just big armful, bring it back in, just dump it in front of the ground. Point at Cammy, point at the clothes, point at Trey, point at the clothes, just grab one and just wipe my face. Until it's bloodied and nice and soaked, toss it, grab another one, and start just wiping myself down.
Clothes and cloth would certainly be something as a no short supply, as that is the majority of what would probably be brought in with most of the patients is whatever clothing they have to be wearing at the time. And that's also, since there was such an overabundance of it, one of the last things that would have been scavenged. Same situation as the laundry room you found before. It's something that there was a great abundance of. So there would be myriad options available to attempt to wipe yourselves off.
I would have been doing that, but not before I would have caught a glimpse of myself in a mirror or window and kind of got a little just spooked by actually seeing how just completely covered in blood I was.
Do the windows open? Any of them?
The bay windows here don't look like they do. As a matter of fact, it's not even just like they are locked shut, as though they are fixed. They have no hinges or pivoting points whatsoever.
Is it still raining?
A little, but nothing like it was before.
Yeah.
As well, I believe you are sitting at 0 hero points right now, correct?
Yes.
You got nothing hanging out there. Well, thanks to Vixel, who has come in with a 2-part tip, one after the other. Not only do you not have no hero points, you have all of the hero points now. You are just going straight to 3.
As it should be.
Dang.
Your stack.
And I guess while we're sitting here, I'm just gonna look at Marius and just kind of whack him on the shoulder, do this motion, gesturing you to talk.
Yeah.
You see him just throw his hands up.
Can't. It's having some struggles.
Yeah, I guess I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, I've kind of obviously figured out that you guys were all patients here, but I kind of got here on my own mission. To get into the backstory a bit, I came from a small town called Braemar, and I lived there for a while. My family had a little general store for like generations. And we lived there for, a while. I would tend to the shop, help out, craft things, repair stuff for customers. But then one day, this like strange merchant came to our town. He was trying to sell strange goods. So like everybody could kind of tell we're shady, and if it looked fake and low quality, things like that. But a couple of days went by and nobody really thought about it. We kind of thought he had left, but then we found out that someone in town had actually bought something from him. It was one of the bigger landlords of town, a guy named Mullet Hillbrand. He bought, he ended up buying a MacGuffin tapestry from him, and for a lot of money. And people really
renowned artist.
We didn't really understand how he could have fallen for it, but he seemed like sure that it was worth way more than he spent on it, like hundreds of platinum. And then a few days go by, and he finally starts to realize that he's been scammed. But at this point now he was out a ton of money, and that resulted in him like raising rent for most of the village, and few of us could afford that. So we were forced out of our home because of that. And I just couldn't understand how he could have fallen for something like that. So all I could really do was try to ask around and see if anybody else had any ideas. And after searching for a bit, I found that some people had mentioned that he had like this book with him that later came to know as the why am I forgetting this right now? The book that we all know.
While he's talking,
The Chain of Knights. Yes.
While he's talking, you see Brick get up
This is what happens on Little Sleep.
and walk out. When he says that he's out of the room and he says Chain of Knights, and he's like grabbing the lady that we knocked out and bringing her back. Brick had a separate idea. He's listening to him talk, but he's like at the same time just doing stuff. He's not.
And this is out from through that little servant.
Yeah, you see him
knock
just,
out
like,
one of the cultists. Yeah.
stumble through, take the lady, just kind of toss her out,
Dump her on the floor.
and bring her back. Like you
It's
can
prop
tell
comedy.
he's trying to listen to you. I'm trying to listen to you, but at the same time, I'm like very like antsy, and I'm like can't sit still long enough for her to do her job. So.
I'm like
the-
chasing you around. Like,
And he sits on like next to you and goes, keep talking.
Yeah.
So the landlord bought the book, or the merchant just had the book,
The merchant had the book with him.
and then he bought the tapestry and the book?
No, the landlord just bought the tapestry, but I found out. So basically, after doing a little bit of research, I came to start to think that maybe the merchant had used the book somehow to influence the landlord into thinking that the tapestry was legit, worthwhile.
Hypnotism.
Yeah, something along those lines. So,
did you get the merchant's name?
no, unfortunately, no. He's just kind of came and went like a shadow. But I tried to follow forward, and that's how I came to Ustalav, to try to see if like the Sleepless Agency could help me track it down. And that's when I found out that it was donated here.
The Sleepless Agency?
They're like a detective agency in the town. And
Didn't we find a car?
and they were able to help me. They were able to tell me that someone had donated the book to the asylum a while back.
As you're rifling through some stuff here, I believe you took it with you. You would have found it in the back of the records
With
room,
Red Destiny, right?
With Red Destiny, a little business card for the Sleepless Agency with their logo and everything on it.
That was all with the headmaster, the administrators
This is
stuff.
with the administrators' things.
So after they told me that, then I, came here to try to find out where that had gone, maybe find out who had donated it, and I'm sure you guys know the rest. That's when I got trapped. I kind of ended up staying in a little room that I was able to find that it partially collapsed, but I could see that it was stable otherwise.
I'm gonna hit him on the shoulder again, pull out a piece of chalk, and it's on the floor right out. What is that book? Do you know?
I don't know much more beyond that. It deals with, like, it was mostly research and things on, like, the mind and the brain, but there had been some, like, rumors that it contained something more, like, darker, possibly ways to influence people.
So did you come before the collapse or during it?
I got here, well, it'd probably be about a week and a half now, though came to Ustalav. And then I basically came here a day before the collapse, came back day of the collapse, and, got stuck here.
So did you see it starting, though?
I started to see, the patients kind of starting to go, kind of not riot, but, get a little bit of uprising. And so I just kind of tried to get out of the way and found, like, a vacant room, and then the quake started hitting, and, everything just continued to literally collapse. And as I heard the horrors of people screaming and being attacked, I just stayed there. Just kept hiding. I didn't know what to do. I was hoping people would come to help.
I pull out Xandalus's file that I still have and point at his name. Do you trying to gesture, like trying to get him to...
My name? Or your name?
The
Do
name,
you recognize...
name on the file, Xandalus, would have been something that during the initial uprising, many of the patients, as they swept through the halls, just attacking anyone they came across, many would have literally been chanting that name.
Oh, yes, yeah. The cultists, and I heard them talking about talking about the cult and chanting mentioning grandma, things like that. But when the things I heard them doing sounded awful. I really, like I said, I didn't sleep the first night at all, and I just kind of tried to stay out of sight as much as I could the next few days until I finally heard you all in the personal effects room.
Kind of stand up again, pull out my dagger, and now I'm playing charades. I take the stance of the tattered man. I've experienced the tattered man very close now. I take his
Two words.
Two words.
Okay,
First word
is rip. Is
bandages.
Bandage.
Tatters.
Tape.
Tatter.
Second word.
Man.
Second word. Easy. Marius. Easy.
Okay, man.
Tatterman.
Okay.
This is quite entertaining to watch.
I point at him and then I do two fingers to my eyes.
Did I see the tattered man? No, I did not. Based on what you've kind of told me over the past day or two, that I don't know. Like I said, I didn't sleep the first night I was here. I barely got sleep the next few nights, but I don't know, something.
When you slept, the dreams you had would have been something, or the dream you had, I suppose, would have been something very different to what the rest of the party, and beyond that, the rest of the residents of the asylum have experienced. You would have fallen asleep to something that would have more immediately felt akin to what you experienced in the chapel. Nothing. Just utter darkness, a completely dreamless sleep. But yours would be less of a pitch black, less of an absence, and more almost as a cavern. And even as you slept, as you fell asleep in your little hole that you had found, this collapsed room that was removed enough No one found you. You would almost feel as if the room was expanding, as if it was growing, the space getting more and more
Falling
high
into
up
a
above
void.
you, the walls spreading out around you, the fallen stone and the timbers becoming proper rough walls of a natural cavern, a cavern the size of an entire mountain hollowed out. And as that fell dark and you underneath it, you would feel almost secure in this massive empty space. And here, in whatever the closest you get to a dream, a consistent, rhythmic bang. Constantly throughout until you awoke. Never ceasing, never fluctuating, never shuddering in its perfect rhythm. What sounds like a hammer on an anvil. And you would awake where you'd fallen asleep with nothing like the experience everybody else has had.
So you didn't die in any of your dreams?
No.
That's kind of weird.
It was just, I don't know, it was just strange emptiness. It was like a combination of feeling like I was both shrinking and the world was getting bigger. It was strange. At some point, almost comforting, too, kind of the feeling alone, given everything else going outside. But I haven't seen any sort of tattered man.
Do you recognize any of this at all? I mean, I'm from Thrushmore. I just found out. My name is Martin. Martin Stanka. Thanks.
I'm afraid. I'm
That's
afraid I
Rick.
don't recognize
That's,
any of you.
No, Adelaide.
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 That, yeah.
No.
Adelaide.
Does anyone
But
know
it's, well, I mean, that's alleged, though. It's, I'm Cammy.
This point, I have doffed my armor. I've taken my breastplate off. I've taken the jacket off. I've even taken off the shirt underneath and just tossed it aside. Found something else that kind of fits and put it on. Like wiped all the blood off, and I'm just half naked now, just sitting here wiping blood off of me,
Hanging out.
just hanging out, chilling. You see, like
The big
his
old orc
scars.
man.
This is probably the first time y'all seen him without his armor on. His scars do run all the way up across his body. He even has like actual scars from weapons that have been incorporated around, like the other scars have been incorporated around them, like they're pieces of honor. Like he's been stabbed, like in the chest, but then there's scars wrapping around it as well, like the same little lines and dots. And he just puts on another shirt, wipes down his outer armor, puts it back on, finds another jacket, rips the sleeves off that, puts that on.
Man hates sleeves.
They don't fit.
Bring over the mop bucket from the janitor's room. We want to wash our clothes in this. We can. We got detergent.
You're going to start the sleeveless agency.
Access to water.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's probably just an old amount of water.
That's why I asked if it was raining.
Yes.
Because I'm not about
it's
to
still,
spend perfectly good water washing blood off.
It still would be raining lightly outside. But yeah, the windows here don't open. I mean, they're glass, but
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to stop me if it doesn't open.
it certainly will not.
Any window can open if you punch it hard enough.
Exactly.
I'm going to
but then they can
spend time
come in.
trying to find an openable window before I go breaking them, though.
Yeah, looking around the day room here and this area, as you would be touched up relatively quickly. You weren't very injured. You wouldn't be able to find anything nearby that opened. In fact, you wouldn't be able to find anything nearby that has windows at all. As a matter of fact, as you walk through the asylum, there are very few rooms, even the external ones, that have a
makes
view
sense.
outside. The nearest one to this might be that visitor's room with the strange birdcage that you had found. There was that massive hallway. You could look down, that you can see what must be all the way down to the very end. There's no doors on the left, and according to the map you've looked at, you're pretty sure that hallway is actually the outside of the asylum itself. Doesn't appear to have any windows. You see no light down that entire stretch whatsoever. The color just saps away entirely into black and white as it moves beyond the range of the lantern. It is not something that there's a great amount of throughout the asylum. But if you did want to break one of them out, it is a glass window. It's not hard to do.
We'll be walking outside relatively soon.
it would take you not an incredible amount of time, but certainly some effort. Probably the time of about maybe 2 hours to clean up and deal with the worst of your wounds here. You have a literally unfailable continuous application of lay on hands here, so I could save us a bunch of medicine checks. During that time, MD's voice would return. No, and it would be an interesting kind of way. It doesn't slowly come back. You don't start getting these like husky whispered rasps. You go from nothing to everything. Like flipping a switch. Your voice is immediately back at full strength.
That was miserable.
Oh my gosh, he's back.
But after about 2 hours, as cleaned up as you could be, no longer drenched in blood, and all of you healed, at least on the outside, to full health. There's only so much we can do about this on the inside, but physically, feeling much better.
During those 2 hours, could I take a quick peek at the map real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
Just kind of
Quickly.
privately looking.
Yeah, where you're at right now in this day room, as we looked at before, is there anywhere in particular, or anything in particular you're looking for?
The solitary ward.
You don't have a ton of detail because what you have is a maintenance map where most wings are labeled with like numbers and letters. Because they're labeled kind of like how they're connected to the plumbing and where pipes and everything interconnect through, and segregated out into still the 4 main wings of the asylum for like reference purposes. But all of the actual like notation on the map are things that you have written yourselves, or that you had people back at the camp label out for you, like the cafeteria and the pantries behind it. You've also only got this maintenance diagram that is the framework of the asylum on the bottom floor. Nowhere on it do you see a label like that, but I mean, logically, it would probably be somewhere in Inpatient to the south of you.
Okay. I'll just hold these things close to my heart and put the map away. Just kind of like sneaking a little look at it and then tucking it back in.
What you looking at?
Load-bearing walls.
It's a good idea. You never know when we'll need to break one down.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, there are just tons in Inpatient. It looks to me like the architecturally, because I was an architect in my previous life, of course.
And a doctor.
I thought she was currently a doctor.
Yes, no, that too. It doesn't matter, but they just built all of it, just leaning on the Inpatient, so.
That would explain why most of it didn't collapse like the rest of this place.
Yeah, yes, it would. Yeah, right?
The art of lying, but just agreeing. Did you ever figure out what's with the old lady in the chair?
I was looking for maybe what she was working on, but I didn't find anything.
We could just throw her out the window so she's not bleeding in here.
That is a solution.
But once the window's open, things can come in too.
Do you think they can't break the window themselves?
Yes.
Well, I think the oozes.
They haven't done it
like
yet.
the slab, the ones that are mushy blobs. I think they just like look for openings and squeeze in. I don't know if they have like brains to crack stuff.
You recall back at the front door seeing what was a fairly large one struggling to even come through a door that was literally open. And then you were able to banish it quite easily by simply closing it, not locking it or anything.
Fair enough.
It is also even a lock that's easy to pick is better than no lock. Still a little bit of security.
He's a sage. He speaks in riddles. Can I go back over to the old lady? And I know I kind of examined her previously.
Absolutely. She is still sitting there. Her hands, you've determined her hands are together like she's working on something knitting, it looks like. But like she's literally holding a pair of large needles. Her hands even posed like that, but there's nothing there. Her eyes looking not down at her hands, but just sort of down almost towards just the corner below the window. very nervous and stressed expression on her face, her forehead creased with worry. It's not fear, it's definitely not the kind of reaction that you would expect given the circumstances. It looks far too subtle for that.
There isn't any yarn anywhere, right? Because she's knitting.
Not that I've seen.
I haven't necessarily looked.
As you look down at her, you can still... It's hard not to see that the gaping hole in her chest, just every now and then, little waves, almost in pulses of blood, just bubbling out and soaking up into the front of her gown, running down, dripping under her chair onto the floor into that strange stream.
I mean, we could just kind of shove some of these clothes and kind of plug it up a bit. I don't really know.
You're a doctor. Can we just do surgery? Can we sew back up?
Yeah.
It's
No
Seems
problem.
like a little bit of a big hole.
It's not, I don't know, it's closable necessarily.
We could do a
few
graft
Band-Aids
with
will do
the-
it.
Skin grab.
A nail gun,
the one that
perhaps.
just died.
Oh, with the one that just...
I don't know why MD brought the body in. I forgot. But we can just use it as a skin grab.
She's not dead.
Well, we would just need needles.
sounds
and...
This one's alive. Hey, Trey, before I forget, how good are you at tying knots?
Relatively.
I'll tie her, bound her hands behind her back. We're bringing her with us.
What? We're arresting her?
The last people we left in this asylum turned into ghouls and attacked us the next day.
Oh, true.
We could just stab her now.
That was my
Somebody
idea.
already did that.
Negative. That's a negative.
She's not fighting.
She could have any type of information that we don't have access to.
Can I grab her needles and, look at them?
She doesn't have needles. Her hands are just together like
Oh,
she was
just
holding
posed
needles.
as
Yeah,
if she
like
had
posed like she was holding
We're
baby
talking about
needles.
the cultists.
But they're talking about... They brought the unconscious
Oh,
cultist
the other
out.
ones.
MD brought her back out into the room with you.
accidentally
So,
caved the other one's skull in.
yeah, they were
so.
trying
Yeah.
to take him
Oops.
down non-lethally, but hit her very, very hard. The other guy very, very hard. So this is the only one who survived.
So I'll bind them up with just
Yep.
clothing.
Easy enough.
Here's the thing, man, is that if we think that they're gonna turn into a ghoul anyway...
I wanted to throw him into the shadows and see what happened.
Well,
You put your hand in there and we figured it out anyways.
I don't want to throw it
Well,
in the...
The issue with your line of thinking, Trey, is if you threw her in the shadows, we wouldn't see what happens.
Pull her back by the chain like I did you.
We still wouldn't see what would happen. We would see the aftermath of what happened. Now we have a first-hand account because someone's an idiot.
Yeah, wait, no. Listen,
I'm
all
glad
I'm
you're okay.
saying is that I'm gonna kind of take my crossbow off my shoulder and sort of load it and be like, wait, just kind of...
She causes problems when she wakes up. You can kill her then, but she's asleep.
And maybe, I mean, fake Denman was not on the good side, and now he's with us. Maybe.
We already have another one of these cultists back in camp anyways.
Yeah,
And
maybe
even
we can
as
reform
you
people.
talk about her here, you would see her start to twitch and shudder on the floor.
I put my bow
bound
back
up
and I
and
look the
close.
other way.
Have you guys seen seen what happens when they turn into a ghoul? Is it fast?
We don't
We
know.
haven't seen. we've just
I
seen
can
after.
assume, here's my assumption, is they fall asleep at night, they dream of the Tattered Man kills them, they turn into a ghoul. Also, I forgot to mention this to you three, the last time the Tattered Man killed me, I spoke with him directly.
Ooh.
We had a nice, long, lengthy conversation about a bunch of stuff I don't understand.
She would jerk on the floor, and she still looks to be unconscious. But you would hear her speak, mumbling through her sleep. No.
Oh, what if he's gonna kill her right now?
Oh, it's happening.
Yeah,
you
I
make
reckon
her...
we're about to find out.
Slap her awake.
Kills
She
her.
is unconscious because she has been beaten
Fair.
unconscious. She would need to be healed to wake up quickly.
Doesn't non-lethal unconscious go away after a while?
After a while,
Only been 2 hours, that's not a while.
It's worth waiting. Either way, we get information.
We could just kind of... just...
keep awake.
Kill her.
Oh,
I'm gonna try and heal her.
Your focus point, your lay on hands,
Oh, I do
a spell, or
want to. I'll use my lay on hands. Yeah.
okay. You don't roll anything for that. You just get 6.
Yeah.
So quickly pulling his magic in. There's Blue's eyes. I was gonna say widen, but I don't think Chameleon Eyes can really do that so much. I think
They just start spinning faster.
Yeah, they sort of are what they are.
look
They
at
both
one
look
thing.
the same direction. That's the rarity for him. Your magic, these strange, like hair-like tendrils come out from your hand and just sort of spread gently across her, and her eyes shoot open on the floor, and then she jerks again, less twitching this time, more just startled, but she's bound up in clothes. And she looks around the group of you back and forth like a septuple take across the group here. Like she's not processing what she's even looking at.
Toothiest,
Good
fakest
morning.
grin. Welcome back to the land of the living.
Wakey.
How was your meeting with the Tatter Man?
We have to go back. We have to go back. We can't stay outside.
Did you have a bad dream?
He can find us here. We
know-
need Xandalus. We need Xandalus.
We don't need Xandalus. We know a safe place to sleep.
Well, we know a safe place to sleep. Xandalus keeps us safe.
Well, you can't get to Xandalus now, can you?
True, there's the darkness.
There's the dark room cutting you off from him.
It's better than him. It's better than him.
It's
We have to go. We have to go.
Go where?
Through the darkness. Back to camp. Back to Xandalus. Please. He knows where we are. He's coming.
Well, then let's go.
Right now?
I'm gonna scoop him up.
This
No,
is
this
her.
is the her.
This is her.
This is the her. Yeah. I'm gonna scoop her up over my shoulder and just start walking in the opposite direction down the hallway.
She's just
No.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And she's going to be squirming, but you have no problem hanging on to her, bound as she is, and just carrying her over your shoulder. She is not really cognizant enough to even tell Super what direction you guys are going at the moment. She, as what you discovered last episode with what was in the room and how they were acting, is probably still high as a kite right now, on top of everything else that's going on.
If she
Talk about a bad trip.
She's having a very bad trip right now.
I might not like do it immediately, but if she was like screaming a lot as we're walking, I might like take a rag and kind of like cover her mouth just to
Don't want all that attention.
yeah.
That's fair. As you're moving down this hallway here, you would immediately, even before you've left the day room, see there is a door on your right. And as you travel, there would be several. At first, spread quite far apart, but further down the hall, you can see 4 of them much closer together before the hall opens up into whatever the bottom corner of this area is. Are you opening any of these doors, or are you just heading back down?
I am. I will.
Every time Cammy stops, I stop with her.
I will stop when people are stopping. I'm also going to find it very entertaining that Cammy is the one opening the door.
Cammy's the one peeking. Opening this very first door here. So MD and Cammy are heading up towards the door, and Trey, Marius, and Easy are just kind of around the hallway.
Yeah, just looking, see if there's any.
Probably
names
be
on these
following
plates.
too. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm interested in how quickly she can get swallowed by another shadow.
It would. What are you all doing as you come down this hall? Exploration mode.
I'm holding
You're-
a person. So.
I would say, like, yeah, keeping her under control is probably the thing that's like your focus. That's an exploration activity for you. What about the
I'm
rest of you?
searching this time, actually.
Okay. You're looking for something. Clearly, like we've established that much. Easy?
I'm doing some like cross referencing, like between like our records and like all the patients that we know are in the chapel, and seeing if any of the room numbers match up, so I can try to like
Okay.
see who
Investigating then, trying to
Yeah.
find something interesting. MD?
I'm actively looking for any.
Why'd you have to do that?
I'm actively looking out for anything that is hazardous to Cammy, in particular.
So you're
Yeah.
scouting, probably.
Yeah.
And make sure that if anything's gonna jump
Babysitting?
out
Is
and-
that
It's
is that one of
babysitting.
the?
Babysitting. Yeah, we're
I'm just a
back to
babysitter
babysitting.
now.
Is that an exploration activity?
Is now. I think we've established that one. It's canonical.
Wasn't that Roshin's?
That was Roshin's go-to exploration activity, was babysitting, yeah? And Marius.
Probably also searching, looking for resources or anything of interest.
Poking your head at this first doorway here, you would find a very large, very long chamber that stretches the whole of the space between the first and the second door. What looks to be a long communal bedchamber for a pretty large number of patients. More than a dozen could be kept in here. The walls, with the same chipped white paint peeling off as they are throughout much of the asylum, frame a row of completely identical beds, separated by pretty thin, dingy white curtains. More the illusion of privacy than any actual privacy from your neighbors. Glancing in, you can see that this was probably one of the main wards for where a majority of patients are probably kept long term. Notably, all of the beds are fitted with similar restraints to what you found down the basements originally. In addition, hanging on the walls, right next to the door that you come in through on the northern end here, is a rack with several full straitjackets hanging up, as well as a couple of... I don't know how to describe this without using the words Hannibal Lecter, but like hooded
Muzzles?
containment masks.
The
and
bite
muzzles,
guards.
yeah. There's a name for them, but I don't know what it is, and it's called a specific thing in here.
The no-bitey masks.
The no-bitey mask. We'll go with the no-bitey mask. Yeah, the
Good at
no-bitey
naming
mask
stuff.
is accurate.
You can throw the cultist in one of the straitjackets.
You
or
want
need
to see if we can't struggle her into one?
It's worth a try.
There are 5 of you. 5 of you are not going to have... I'm not going to make you roll anything to force one, the half-lucid woman into a straitjacket. That is one of the explicit purposes of a straitjacket. One of the uses it needs to be able to do is to
16.
be forced onto somebody. So, something immediately available, more effective than just trying to bind her hands with random bed sheets and stuff, is an actual literal straitjacket, which should also make it significantly easier to carry her and make it
there a
all but
cart?
impossible for her to resist. What?
Is there a cart?
All
If
of the
we're just
beds
going
actually would be
full-
mounted on carts. Any of the beds could be rolled out.
Well,
They
no,
are-
if we're
they're-
going full Hannibal Lecter, I was like,
Oh my
The dolly.
gosh.
The straitjacket's probably efficient, but if you would rather wheel her on one of these beds, you could.
there's no reason not to just bring
It'd
her
be useful
around.
for the chapel.
Also true. They are
Because they've been sleeping on the floor.
they are perfectly fine beds. They're
Okay,
functional beds.
She's getting strapped to the bed, and the bed's going with us.
Fair
in
enough.
the straitjacket.
We get 17
If
different
we get
flavors of
killed,
restraints
she's
on this
completely
woman right now.
helpless.
She's that's true. If you guys go down, she's gonna have a bad time. You could take even several of these beds if you wanted. They fit through the doorway pretty easily, as they are very well clearly designed to do. They are meant to be rolled around throughout the asylum wherever they need to go. So it's absolutely no difficulty at all to transport some of these beds with you.
I might not take a bed, but I might take a pillow and some sheets and kind of just roll them up.
There would also be a small station on the other side of the door. You come into your left, there's the straitjackets and the cowls. On your right are a couple of medicine cabinets and tables and cupboards, but those look like they've been pretty heavily looted already. Those don't look like there's much left in them at all.
Yeah, it was one of the beds. I'm just going to go down the line. Whatever bed has, if they have pillows or sheets or anything left on it, I'm just going to take them off, roll them up, throw it on the bed I'm rolling.
Yep, quite a few of those would have been taken, but not all of them. You would be able to find probably a half-dozen pillows in this room.
Along the same line, I would want to, if this looked like there was a long-term patient, I'd want to check under beds, see if anybody had stashed anything interesting.
There doesn't appear to be anything underneath any of the beds here. If once perhaps there was, it's been pinched. But a good amount of supplies that are going to make the people at the chapel much more comfortable, if nothing else. You pass your way through the room and out the southern end, where you see the hallway passing through a bit of a crossroads. You know by your map, this should be the area that intersects the passageway that leads around the inner courtyard back to admissions. But as you open the southern door back out into the hall, you hear a sound coming from around the corner, back looped around the corner to your right. It sounds like tumbling pebbles, stone on stone, like somebody moving rocks around, followed with a labored grunting, somebody working fairly heavily. Your beds are not squeaky noise machines, but it would be all but effectively impossible to sneak by anything while you're pushing these beds with you.
I'm just gonna ignore it and continue, especially because I could see around the corner even if it's dark.
Yeah, I mean, well, you've got easy with you, so the light's coming with you.
I mean,
I'm going to purposely walk like slightly ahead and look because I can see without everyone being exposed.
That's fair. You poke your head around the corner to see yet more of the asylum's collapse. To the right, it looks like this area has once again come in completely, choked with a huge pile of rubble. And crouched down, not even on his knees, like squatting in front of this, is the unmistakable figure of a ghoul who is sitting there laboriously reaching and moving bits of rock and working to pull bigger hunks of stone. And it's looks to you immediately like an absolute fool's errand given the ridiculous size of the collapse. It would take days at best
He's an undead.
for him
He's
to
got
burrow
time.
through that. You can see there are pebbles and scree scattered all throughout the area, large boulders just being tumbled off to the side wherever he's throwing them. And even as you look and you hear all these beds, wheels clacking across the tile floor behind you as the party follows you, he's so focused on this and making so much of his own noise, he doesn't even seem to notice. He is like completely absorbed in his excavation here.
I'm just going to look back at everybody and just shrug and keep walking.
Yeah, I guess somebody's got to clear that hallway, so I guess.
Yeah, like,
honestly,
what
that's
he
kind of
wants
dope.
to
Right?
do.
Good work.
Yeah, right.
Not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sneak on past. When we pass any kind of like collapsed rooms, I'm also like checking the stonework structure, see if there appears.
Give
to be
me a
any risk.
perception check. Both of you seekers. Now, what's your? You have the stone
Go
cutting
for the
thing, right?
load-bearing walls.
I'm looking for
You have the
load-bearing walls.
I got a natural one.
Never mind.
Dwarven stereotype proven wrong.
9 on the die, so 15.
It's kind of hard for you to look, perhaps, past. You're a little distracted by the guy digging. It's a little difficult, and it's constantly shifting. You're distracted by how ineffectively he's attempting to move this stuff. It offends your dwarven soul. And he is just grabbing rocks at random and making zero progress.
This man is trying to dig a tunnel through sand.
Basically, what he's trying to do.
Grabbing a
And
rock,
it makes it
moving a
really
rock.
hard for you to focus. But you looking at this is supposed to be what connects through to that's supposed to be a connecting hallway that goes all the way back to admission. It does not look like it's going to be fixable. It looks like a lot of that rubble is coming down all the way from the upper levels of the asylum. Even were you to clear all of that, there's 3 times what it looks like sitting right on top of it.
He'll get there eventually.
Knowing the map, there are other ways back through, but you've already seen that the next one is collapsed, where admissions connects directly in to the patient intake. So it looks like the only path still intact is going to be that external walkway that you saw through the window, passing through the outside garden. We love outside.
I love that.
I like this ghoul. He's a hard worker.
He's very busy.
Someone should give him a raise.
You all move past him.
There's a little tree.
There's no problems.
I'm filling out a comment.
If he notices you at all, he doesn't even move to acknowledge it, and you guys are not exactly subtle. Moving through here with your beds and your patient.
talking,
Whistling like we're not even like we're
Wholly
minding our
focused on
business.
his task here.
little crowbar banging on.
Immediately as you come into the hallway
Comical
past him,
sound effects
still
start.
with the sounds of this excavation behind you, there are another series of doors on your right. You open them up one at a time as you go. These are smaller, single patient rooms, each one with a bed and a low table. It doesn't look terribly comfortable, and it doesn't look very well appointed, but they're pretty much just the same thing. The first one that you open, as it is right on the outside, is collapse. The back corner of it has come down. That too has crashed in, with tiled ceiling now scattered across the floor, and the bed covered with some massive, heavy bricks that have crushed a good amount of it down. You don't see any signs of bodies or anyone that was in here when it happened, but it's pretty well damaged.
Does this seem like the rooms for like long-term inpatients, or is this like?
From what you see in the records, it doesn't seem like Firestone really does short-term.
Okay, so the other one, but like, what's the difference between these single ones and the ones we just passed? Like, I have no
Probably
idea.
people that need isolation. Or
Probably people like me.
But I figured the restraints also. like the restraints in the straight jacket. But
I mean, if it,
What do you think, Cammy?
it could also be disturbing to other people if they were.
You know, they're. You could consider them to be single. They're. I think.
studios, little studio apartments.
Yeah. Are there any like where you would like put like a clipboard?
Oh yeah,
like,
with the file. And
Yeah,
Oh, like
you know what I mean?
doctor's charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there would definitely be slots for the charts, yes, but they would all be empty.
Okay.
No,
There's no labels anywhere.
no cross-referencing between the files to see who belongs where.
That'd be tough. Because, again, these places have been so ransacked, and the cultists clearly were to some degree of interested in records. So anything easy's been taken, and
Do the doors look like they lock from the inside or the outside?
they lock from the hallway side. All of the doors to these single chambers have pretty hefty, sturdy locks that do latch from the hallway.
Would there have been? Never mind. Would there have been evidence that, like either a toilet or having to stay in there?
Yes.
Okay.
They would have
Bedpan
facilities
or something.
for that, yeah, as well as a small sink.
I would like to just tear up these rooms, examining them, like things off of the bed, checking under the mattress, looking under the bed.
Take a break,
Repeat
take a
the
sip.
search.
When you open this first one and you immediately start to root through this as hard as you can, trying to find something, you would find a thing. One thing that stands out from the rest of this, because again, this seems to be completely devoid of personal effects, which does seem a little bit strange. There would be, underneath a bit of the rubble and underneath the mattress, kind of crushed to the floor, a very bright rainbow-colored feather, fairly large, almost like a toucan feather. Like it's bright green and blue. And regardless of the fact that it's crushed underneath this rubble in the bed, it's very well intact. It's as you can pull it out and it will return to its form immediately. It is quite soft. It's not like it's a sculpted feather. It feels like an actual physical feather, but it looks completely untarnished by whatever has happened here.
Huh. I'm gonna snap my fingers and Blue will skitter out of my hair nest and onto my shoulder and kind of like leaning past like where the door would see, kind of being like, do you recognize this?
And Blue would look down at it and kind of scuttle down, then reach and pick up the bottom of the feather and just fling it.
just throw it?
You just kind of fling it. It's a feather that sort of floats and drifts. And as it hits the ground, you hear a heavy wooden thunk as the feather into a wooden footlocker about 1.5 feet across.
What? Okay,
Well,
I'm
I guess you
opening
don't have
that.
to-
What?
I was gonna say detect magic, but I think we figured it out.
Is in fact magical. Interestingly, detecting magic it no longer is. But as you open this little locker up here, on the inside of the lid, you would see scribbled in what looks to be like almost bright pink paint. Right about the color of your hair, actually. A big smiley face.
I love doing a scavenger hunt for make my own scavenger.
In case I ever go insane, here's my own set of clues.
Right.
Inside it are a couple of items. There are 3 small little clay flasks waxed over the top, completely and totally sealed, except for one of them that looks like the seal has been poked through with a needle or something, and it's just had like a small little piece of cloth bound back over the top of it again. There is a little crystal. It's clear. It's the word for what a D8 is, a tetrahedron. It's like a little tetrahedron. And even as you pick it up, just in the not fantastic light from Easy's lantern, it is an incredibly potent prism, shattering the light into a wide array of colors like a kaleidoscope that come out from behind it. And there would be a couple small little pouches of what look like powders and ground bits of maybe seeds or peppers or something.
Peppercorns.
And there
Popcorn.
would be a little, kind of like a satin red cloth laying over something. And when you pick it up, it is a gun. There is a small little black powder pistol.
Got a little holdout pistol.
It's a gun?
Give a couple little paper wrappings of black powder and a few pellets. Maybe a half dozen shots.
Don't give the child a gun.
I'm
Is it
gonna.
a coat pistol?
What?
Is it a coat pistol?
It would probably mechanically be something akin to a coat pistol. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm.
It's pretty small.
Okay.
It's
I'm-
a black
Are we
powder
here?
derringer.
Are we seeing
It looks like it's even like a snub coat pistol. Like it looks like the barrel has been somewhat haphazardly sawed even shorter, so you can just barely load the powder and the pellet in the tip of it.
Fun fact.
It's
Oh
gonna
my
be
gosh.
very loud when you
Well,
shoot it
a
because it's
fun
a very
fact
little
about
barrel.
guns. You can cut the barrel on most firearms all the way back until you can see the bullet, and it will still fire
Yes.
properly. Of course, you're not going to cycle or anything, but in a black powder gun, that doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's gonna be pretty loud and not super accurate, but
I'm gonna.
Well, it doesn't matter if I'm shooting from here to there.
that's true.
Right. As soon as I kind of peel back the satin cloth, she goes, and then she's gonna throw it back down and go, I have something that I want to try. Can you just tell me if this, here, hold on. I'm just gonna slam the door shut and then quickly start, like, shoving things into my pockets and, like,
in the
trying
doorway,
to shove the crate back under the bed. And, like,
We just hear a bang.
We hear a thud. Hear a gasp. Door slams in my face. I wonder what she's doing.
And you hear a frantic ruffling from inside.
I don't know if this is a gnome thing or if this is just a Cammy thing.
Cammy, you're allowed to keep anything you find in there. We're not going to judge you.
I don't know. I can't hear you. Oh no.
All right, we're leaving. Let's go.
Wait.
I just take the car and I
Society.
start going further down.
As you start scrabbling the stuff out of the box here, and you get the little pellets, which are just kind of like piled up behind the pistol. They're not even in a pouch or anything. They're just kind of like sat in a little like indent in a leather thing. Each of the bullets is brightly painted a different like neon color.
Oh my gosh. I
Society.
quickly go like, oh, I was so cool.
I want to make a society check. Is this just a gnome thing?
Is this just a gnome thing? What was what?
The
just a
erratic
gnome
behavior.
thing?
The erratic.
First of all,
the behavior.
racist. Second,
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Make a
That's what
racism
you
check.
get.
It got a little over twice better. 14.
you don't know. I mean, you know, gnomes are fairly erratic and prone to flights of fancy, so maybe.
You think I
Prone to
won't
flights
use
of
these on
fancy.
ridiculous things?
How much
Down
of this
one.
did we see?
How many what?
How much of this did we even see?
You would probably, I mean, you would have seen her throw the blue throw the feather on the ground,
Okay.
and it turned to a footlocker, and her open it, and then her eyes go wide, just shut the door pretty much.
Okay.
Marius can make me a perception check. You were searching.
Oh no.
19 plus.
You would
8.
definitely have seen the bright pink smiley face on the inside of the lid as before she shut the door.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, on the scale from
call
like
sign.
like Walmart to like serial killer, how creepy is the smiley face?
That's such a good
Walmart to serial killers. That's
range.
1 to 10. I'm gonna give you like a 8.2 probably. It's definitely more like Jinx.
Yeah.
A rollback deal. It's a
I'll roll this back.
There's nothing layaway about this one.
No, this was all on layaway.
Wait, even
I
if
just found a loot box.
We're
They
coming for your tabletop, boys.
EA
For one
can't keep getting away with this.
for 100 gold, you can get another one.
Right, yeah.
If you want a different box, give me $5. I'll reflavor what's in the box.
Hey, I want a cool skin is what I want.
Right. Is the gun blue, purple, gold, or
The
is
gun
it-
itself seems to be a pretty normal, very small little pistol. You don't appear to do anything weird.
There's a Fortnite
I
joke.
I only use writing guns. If as we're leaving, if you did what you said and actually left the box under the bed, and as we were leaving, just out of suspicion as to why she like closed the door and everything. If the box is still in there, I'm going to take it just because a box seems useful.
Can you take it?
You have his box. You can't. The box. You taking the box?
How big is the box?
It's like 1.5 feet.
Okay, yeah. No, I just shoved that thing under the bed.
Okay, that's like a decently sized box. But you open the door back up.
Certainly couldn't. Maybe somebody else could.
You open
Let's be clear.
So it takes you like 30 seconds to cram all this stuff into various pockets, everything in your jacket. And they're just in their blues, just sort of looking down at it and just watching you. And sort of just gesturing at things. And she'd be like gesturing at things and gesturing at, like, I guess where his little lizard ear holes would live. And gesturing at things in his eyes and then touching his tongue as you're grabbing different stuff out of the box here.
I kind of look at him and I go, listen, I know that you know what's going on. Okay. But I don't. So, we need to figure out some way for you to back me up here and clue me in on this bigger story here. Lick my head. Lick. What are you saying?
We just hear her talking to Blue about
Oh, 100%.
Because Cammy's not quiet.
Not quiet.
Cammy's never quiet.
And he sort of like looks down and just does no again a couple times with his hands.
Okay.
No.
Because this is like where we were at, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's so sick. Okay. So.
And when you grab the gun, he puts both of his hands up over the side of his head like he's covering his ears.
Don't give me that look. No.
Waving it.
Don't give me that look. Listen.
Earmuffs, Blue. Earmuffs.
You just plug your ears whenever. We're probably gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Listen, look at me.
He's looking at you as much as a chameleon does.
Okay. We don't tell anybody crap about this room. Do you understand? Yes.
One click, yes.
Okay.
And he just disappears again, fading back out.
We do our secret handshake, and then we just.
You did like one finger.
Yes. All right, and then I'm going to bust the door open again. It's just like, oh man, no, it's right. It's soundproof. You can't hear anything.
Yep, didn't hear a word. You ready to go? You okay? Everything taken care of?
Oh yeah, what? I just wanted to check since it looks like these are rooms that.
They are rooms, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, yes. And that you would stay in and they lock from the outside, and there's
you
a
want to
toilet.
check the next one
so
with as much enthusiasm?
Can you do that trick?
Yeah.
Can you turn the chest into a feather again? I saw the feather turn.
They all saw
does the
They
feather?
all saw you throw the feather and turn into a box. It wasn't until after that it got weird. It's like everyone saw the feather.
We saw light as a
And the
feather
door
stiff as a
slammed.
Foot Locker.
Oh,
Which is just not there when she opens the door again.
was
Like,
that not in the
You
was
do
that not in
magic.
the other rooms that magic is uncontrollable, dude. I got powers beyond my belief. Was that not in the other rooms or?
No.
That's
so
weird.
it can't go back
weird.
into a feather, or
I wouldn't know. I didn't make it.
If dropping the feather turned it into the box, maybe throw the box up onto the ceiling and it'll turn into a feather.
Too bad you can't throw the box more than like 2 feet, so. Right,
Okay,
next
well,
room.
Next
Actually,
room,
we
repeat
all
the
have
searching.
our secrets.
Listen.
You open the door to the next room,
Get on the floor.
and you see that there are 3 corpses crammed into this space. These aren't super tiny chambers. Like they're probably like 10 by 15. Like they're, I don't know, jail cell sized. You could have room in them to live. The bed takes up a large amount of space, but the 3 bodies strewn about here all look like they have succumbed to pretty severe blunt wounds. 2 figures lay in a tangled heap on the floor, draped with yellow painted robes. Yellow paint across their face in different designs. 2 table legs that look like they might very well have come from the same table lay scattered across the ground, that one still clenched in one of their hands. Each of their faces look like they have been resoundingly smashed inward by a boot. The third figure in the room, an old man who looks to be well into his 80s.
Wearing boots.
He's got a boot in his hand,
Ah.
a smile on his face, and quite a few big, blunt bashes where he's clearly been hit with these table legs.
On the same scale, what's the smile?
He looks satisfied. He looks content
It's a rollback kill.
with what he's done.
Yeah, that's
This-
just a I came back from the buffet smile.
Exactly that smile.
Publix on a Sunday after
That's a
church
golden
kind of smile.
corral. Yeah,
And the boot of the foot of the leather boot he's got in his hand is absolutely smeared with dark congealed blood.
That's shocking.
yeah, there's
Man
some,
threw some hands.
real crazies that they're keeping out here in these rooms. That's wild.
The third room
I wonder who that first room belonged to.
Me too.
is the third room's a bit different. It has 2 beds that are a bit smaller, each set further back on either side of the back corners. And
Can you
they
tell me
are
the thread count of the beds?
maybe like a 700. I mean, like they're a little cleaner, like they're a little better. But we're not looking at like a 1500. Like this is old. We're in medieval time threading things. I mean, they got what they got, but they're smaller, so they couldn't get it into the same bulk supplier, so it was a little bit of a better like local. Like it's,
Track the bed over.
The HGTV right now happening over there.
these 2 beds are both heaped with like a shapeless mound of sheets and pillows. There's like a dozen pillows between the 2 beds here, and some of the sheets are actually kind of stretched across the 2 of them, almost kind of making a little.
Pillow fort.
not
I
necessarily
know
a pillow.
whose room this was.
Not hard to tell. The wall to your right, when you come in big, bold, bright chalk letters, says Brenton and Debus's room.
Oh.
Not really a whole lot left of the imagination on that one.
Do I see anything that would be particularly noteworthy, worth bringing back?
Maybe perception check my searchers.
That's a nat 20.
Ooh. Forget about me.
My
I mean,
man-
I was
That's
a
still
15.
a
It was a
21.
21.
My
but
man's
I mean,
doing
God,
ranger
not 20.
activities here. He's ranging.
Oh, yeah.
Looking into the room, while the pillows and everything have been left like the others, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of personal effects. Either personal effects just weren't really kept here, or they have been pilfered. The only thing that you find bundled up in kind of a tangle of sheets off the foot of the southernmost bed is a pair of maybe like 6-inch, like they're decently large, carved wooden knight figurines. One of them with a big geese arm held in front of them, and one of them with a square shield and a stout longsword. Children's toys.
I'll take those.
It'd be worth bringing back.
In the final room, because we can't just have a thing that seems happy for 5 seconds, is an absolute charnel house. The bed is covered in human remains.
Depending on what makes you happy, this room's a happy place too.
If you're a ghoul, it looks like it's great, because it certainly looks in here like a man was ripped apart on this bed. Very possibly by the smears on the bloody floor by several ravenous figures.
This could also just be what happens when the Tatter Man gets to you and you don't turn into anything in particular. You just explode.
Notably,
We don't know.
each of these doors to these rooms does have a window set in the front of it, so that you could look. The window was braced and reinforced with a bit of wiring inside, but it's got a window so you could look inside from the hallway or out from within. And the window and a chunk of the door to this one has already been smashed in. This door would have been hanging a bit ajar when you found it.
My God.
They
I
got
wasn't
windows.
in there.
That's nice.
I don't feel like going in and playing with this room.
No, I'm
We can
good.
skip this.
I think it's
Yes.
We just got ourselves cleaned up. Just close the door.
More than fair. The hallway ends here, widening into a larger chamber at the southern terminus of the asylum. That same pale white paint has throughout much of the asylum, chips and peels from the walls. There is a bent desk facing away from you, towards a single door on the southern end of this chamber. And the eastern side of this area has a couple of curtained frames cutting off that like little additional section that juts out from the rest of the room. There is a pair of lanterns, long since extinguished. One fairly crumpled, one pretty intact, just set in front of the desk on the floor. A second door on the western end of the room would almost certainly lead to the backside of the huge pile of rubble that you had seen from the admissions hallway. And even from here, the door and the wall itself are buckled just a little bit inward, bulging into the space.
Can I look at the desk, and is there anything useful kind of opening some drawers, rifling through?
Yeah, give me a perception check. Search, boys.
10 on the die, 16.
That's a 4 on die for 12. Yeah, 12.
With a 16, looking through, you would find a single small little flask, and I mean very small. This is like a thimble. It's bright green and has a small little cork set at the top of it. It seems like it's so little it'd almost be difficult to remove. It's a potion or an elixir of some kind. Whenever you had a moment, you could attempt to sit down and identify it.
I'll just take the lantern. It's always good to have
Spare
a backup.
lanterns, can't hurt.
That's your thing. Is
He's
there
the
any
guy.
notes
He's the guy.
or?
The desk, one of the drawers is pulled out entirely and left on the floor in front of it. But you find a couple of ledgers and folders that look like they are similar to what you would have found back in the admissions area in that desk. This is where patients were formally admitted into the area. But there was a much more thorough visitor's log that has a recounting of any patients that were let out into the visiting chamber across the garden, who came to visit them, and dates and times. If you care to, the most obvious thing I would think, if you care to double check that with what you have heard about Lysandro, or from Lysandro's journal, about the Count's ever more frequent appearances, they would all be logged here, seeming to corroborate the story on that end. And you could see that Count Lowell's had been arriving to meet with Xandalis nearly daily up until right before everything fell apart.
If I knew or was told like roughly when the Chain of Knights was donated, I'd probably also want to check like visitors on that day or general day if it's not excessive.
Okay, you would see certainly a couple of names on there. Count Lowell's would definitely appear on that day as well as two other patients, one of which would not be a name that anybody immediately recognizes, and one of them would be a visitor for Baisley that appeared to be her sister. Baisley, the blonde girl from the camp. No one's really interacted with her a ton. Big smiles.
I like her.
I beat her in cards.
You did beat her in cards.
How
You
long
beat
ago?
everyone in cards.
I did.
How long ago was that visit?
This would have been maybe a week and a half past.
Like 4 days before everything happened?
It's probably only been about 4 days since everything did happen, so it'd be almost a full week before everything happened.
And do we know how long the visits with the Count and Xandalis were? Like check in, check out?
Most of the visits with their check-in, they seem to have been 1 hour, is what patients were allowed. There was very little, if no, variance from that in the logs, not even for Laos' appointments.
All right.
Well then,
Did
Let's-
any of us get visitors?
None of your names would appear in the
I
visitation
don't
log.
think anyone
You
wants.
got no friends.
Except
Well,
for
one
Silver
of us
Leaning,
has
I would be in there, right?
Well, that would
Well,
make
this-
sense.
We have the special stickers.
You weren't visiting a patient. This is like patient visitation logs. People that were coming to meet with one of the asylum's patients. You were here for something separate.
Okay.
You were here for a meeting with the administrator or with staff, so your name wouldn't appear in here either.
Right then.
Let's continue then. Gotta
Everybody-
brave the outside.
Everybody
I'll
has their
go
umbrellas?
first. You want to go first this time?
I gotta carry the bed.
All right, I'll go first.
The door to the outside would be locked. It will be locked from this side.
Key or switch?
It would be a key, and you guys have the ring of keys that you got from the administrator, so it would just be a moment of trying a couple of them before you could find a way to open it. But it would strike you as a little interesting. But when you got the door open, you would see that neither side has a latch. The door locks fully with the key from both ends. It's impassable either direction without the key. As a matter of fact, it does not appear to be possible to close the door without the key latch re-engaging. That is part and parcel with the act of opening the door. Requires the key. A group of you head outside, seeing the yellow mist. Oh, I know you guys love the outside of the asylum. It's a great place for everyone.
Oh,
There's a big.
what is that?
Oh my gosh!
There's a.
It's a
sign.
compass rose at the corner of the map.
So it's really big. It's like
Popsicle.
gargantuan.
It's going to attack you with the concept of direction.
There's aliens.
There would be
Aliens.
some rustic flagstones that were the outside here, not this rolling, continuous yellow fog. Must have once passed through a fairly nice garden, but the flowers and shrubs lining the sides of this are wilted and sagging. Foliage shriveled, even though it's only been a couple of days since everything has fallen apart. As soon as you open the door, you hear the whipping sound of the wind outside. The rain seems to have died down a bit, so the wind has certainly picked up in its place. Give me 2 perception checks as you step through this doorway here.
9 on the die, 15.
9 as well for 17.
Cammy, through this wind, as you step out, you would hear there is another thing. It almost sounds like wind. It kind of fits in with the sound profile, but it's not wind against the building. It's not wind into your ears. It's coming from up above you. You hear intermittently the sound of flapping. Something heavy and large enough that the beat of its wings is loud enough to occasionally be audible through the wind.
Before we open the door, I'm like, okay, we run and open the other door quickly and spend as little time outside. And don't look up or down. And don't look into the mist.
I think the smarter idea is have one person run, open the door. Once it opens, everyone else run.
Ooh, big wing sounds.
I like it.
You have the door open. You're standing here discussing these plans. What are you doing?
I
Do
hand
you
my
hear
keys
that?
out for the keys because Trey's been carrying them.
You hear that?
Yeah, I hear that.
There's something.
Big.
You guys
Mhm.
stay here. I'll go open the other door. Once it's open, you guys run as fast as possible. So with them still back in the chamber, I'm gonna just dash out a full
You
speed, which isn't
rush
doesn't
out.
look that far.
You
but
got several of these beds. You've got the
I leave
struggling cultists still. They're all back in the
Yeah.
admissions area. Of course, you're not bringing.
I'm not
with
that
you.
stupid.
You're rushing over towards the door, and you sprint over and start trying keys. It is, perhaps to your surprise, not the same key that goes in this door. So you start trying. As everyone's just kind of huddled around the door watching, ready to try and run with these gurneys and get as much through as you can. Marius is the only one who would notice a wriggling in the ground around MD's feet. And what looks to be a couple of small white shapes starting to poke through the surface around him.
After about 5 keys, I get frustrated and start kicking
There's
the door.
there's something moving. There's something on the ground.
We're going to
But-
take
No.
midstream break.
No.
Imagine like 1 key, no, 2 key, no. Okay, bah.
We're gonna stand up, stretch our legs, get some drinks. We'll be back in about 10 minutes to see what happens here. When we return, something is out there.
Oh, it's gonna get you.
Two somethings.
It's probably
Do something.
It's okay.
There's an up thing and a down
Beats
thing.
at
There's an
least
up
one
thing
something.
and a down
Nothing
thing.
down
bad
thing,
has ever
red thing,
happened
blue thing.
outside.
Don't go too far, everybody. Like I said, it's going to be about 10 minutes. We're going to run some advertisements during that. Twitch is going to play them automatically if we don't run them, so we just try and get them in during the break so we can have as much ad-free streaming as possible. Thank you to all of you putting up with those. We'll be right back, everybody.
I thought I did.
Welcome back, everybody. We've given the small child a gun.
Oh my gosh.
The rest of the party doesn't know she has a gun.
A lot of recurring themes between.
I don't know which is what. That's true. Actually, we are sort of just
They're
lining up
spooky.
with Malevolence
Kids have
now.
guns.
Yep.
We keep doing this to ourselves, and here we are. As we left off, you guys aren't big fans of going outside. Outside is weird and scary. So
boils
MD
ring.
was hurrying, trying to figure out which key would open the door on the far side, and Marius, by one, made the perception check to see these things coming up out of the ground before they emerged, which means they are not going to get the jump on you. But I do need everybody to roll me some initiative, and then I will give you the details on exactly what is happening.
Can I add my panic modifier to this?
Your panic modifier?
Is this a thing?
It's like plus 100. Full panic. Not panicked enough.
All right, we'll do it backwards style. I like doing it backwards style every now and then.
Oh, it's kind
They-
of hard to.
They got an 18.
Oh, that's a bug.
Easy. What did you get?
Like
10
Beatles.
plus 7, 17.
Ooh, right below him. Cammy?
9 plus 6, 15.
Right below him. Trey? 14?
19.
Ooh, right above him.
I
MD?
am scouting, by the way. That was my
20.
exploration action, but unless you take that away from
Yes,
this.
your exploration action is fumbling for keys
Okay,
right now.
that's
you're,
fair.
You're a little occupied.
I'm trying to get whatever I can. I rolled a 2 on the die. Got an 8 total.
Sick. Marius.
7 plus 8, 15.
15. Who wants to go first? We knew Cammy.
I'd probably want to try to go first
Yeah,
to
yeah,
protect
yeah.
the
No,
child.
that's fine. I got a
Fair
little
enough.
good spells.
Marius is a little preoccupied pointing this out, trying to figure out what it is. They're little white shapes. They almost look like white rats or doves or something. They're not that small. They're not like little worms. But right as he points these out, Zemdi is trying these keys. Several of them start to rear up from the ground. And they look almost like strange little rodents. MD, you can hear the snuffling noises coming from the ground as they root around, and you briefly glance down and see these things have no eyes. They don't appear to have any mouths. They have rounded, leathery wings and a unsettling number of little legs and rat-like hands sticking out from underneath their body. They are truly disturbing creatures. As you were trying keys to the door, you had time to try a couple before they started bursting out. So roll me a d4, and if you get a 4, we'll say you have happened upon the correct key in your pure chance trying of keys here as they emerge.
Panic. I got 2.
Okay.
So the door that MD is at is not open. And as these things burst up from the ground, the cacophony of their snooting and snuffling, it's a strange overlapping sound that feels like it almost muddles your mind, and they are truly unnerving to look at. I need everybody to make me a stress check.
I
We're in dangerous territory for those.
rolled a 15.
Ah, yeah.
4.
15. Or 17.
You're fine, MD.
15.
Trey,
4.
7 club.
16.
16. 3. 8. Stress
I don't want to be here.
coming in for easy.
I am trying to get to 10.
I'm
What
trying-
is going on here?
I'm trying to roll high on anything that isn't a stress test.
It's getting spooky up in there. Trey, you see all this, and while it's disturbing, I rolled a nat 20 for your stress check, so you get to just take your turn. You're good. What do? There are dozens of these things. More
Okay, so
and
it's
more
multiple
seeming
things.
to like rear up out of the ground as they all start to jump and flap and writhe up in a swarm around MD.
I'm going to come up to the edge of the swarm, and I would assume walking around, I'm pulling the bed cart thing in one hand, and I have my sword in the other, just
Sure.
in case.
If you want to pull the bed with you while you're coming
But
out to
she's
fight
on
this
it.
thing?
No.
Oh, you don't want to leave her behind.
Yeah,
That's fair.
so I'm gonna let go and leave her in there.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you were like dragging outside. Like,
No.
I feel like you got higher priorities right now.
Take
but
her
sure,
outside,
you can
throw
do
her
that.
on the swarm.
No.
No.
yeah, you can just let go of it and come out with your
I'm just
sword.
gonna
No,
let
that's
go,
fine.
Come out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come up to it, get down on one knee, and just sweep my sword across it twice,
Okay.
like just cutting, like I'm cutting grass.
Give me that hit roll.
So the first one is going to be a 29.
29 is going to critically hit. They are all mostly still emerging out of the ground, so they're at a great place for you to chop through them.
And that will be 11, 15, 30.
30's pretty good. You got chopped down a ton of these pretty much immediately.
And then swing
So
again.
they are, while it's pretty effective there, just
It is
given
still
the
a swarm.
situation, they are still a swarm, and like your slashing attacks are, I mean, that's a great swing, but a lucky one also. They are definitely quite resistant to slashing damage.
So that will be an 18.
18 will just hit them.
I would be concerned if an 18 was not going to connect, but we'll
Well, you guys
see
crit
what-
on a 29, so blessed
Yeah.
on an 18 is guaranteed to hit.
Yeah. And that is 14 damage.
That's pretty good. You very nearly ended the fight instantly.
Oh my god.
That was really close.
I'm a fighter with a +1 striking weapon at level 2.
That was super close. That's not even one rounding. That's like one initiativing this. Oh, the thing's very. What few of them were able to get out of the ground, just floating around and screeching and biting, are going to lash out. You're not even sure what it is. Neither of you see mouths. They've got these little hands. They're flying up. They're kind of clinging onto you. They're snuffling with these wide noses that are much of the front of the creature. But you feel like a cutting, biting pain. And you're not even positive where exactly the source of it is. But MD, you look down as you feel these sharp wounds. And the thing flutters back a little bit. And you feel it as well, Trey, and I need each of you guys to make me a reflex save.
Like 20 total.
Regular success.
I rolled an 18 for 26 total.
26 is a regular success. You take 1 point of slashing damage, and Trey takes 3 points of slashing damage. And I need both of you you succeed on the reflex save, actually, so no fortitude saves. But that is all 3 of what's left of this thing's actions. Easy.
Dang.
It's all 3 of what's left of its life.
You got it, dude. You can send it.
Okay. Well, I don't like being outside. We don't got too much time to bide. I don't like this bug and in the hole that it dug. So this is outside's a wild ride, and that's courage.
Courage to everyone.
You sound the creative process
5
there.
books from now, you're still going to be.
Dropping hot limericks.
And then I'm just gonna try to project a rock and squish one of these bugs.
Okay. As you fling that out towards it, the wind is whipping around fiercely enough that as this shoots out, it is going to impact even your magically enhanced shot. You're going to take a -2 to this attack roll.
Okay. Here we go. 13 -2 plus 8. 19.
19 will hit.
Yes. Do I smush it? Let's see.
Now, with what's left of this still being kind of like a dense almost wad of these things that is moved from MD to Trey. This solid rock that you're throwing is going to hit them with a more profound impact. It seems they still resist it, but it seems to be a bit more effective than the slashing damage.
Yeah, smushing bugs works better than slashing bugs. 3 + 4, 7?
What happens? Yeah! least deserved kill description in the history of Pathfinder. But what happens?
I'm like half not looking.
How do you end this season?
I'm like trying not to look at it too, kind of grossed out, and just find the biggest rock I can move and just smush. And I'm like, don't lift the rock, don't lift it. I don't know what's under there.
Man, you left them with 2 hit points. Like, you almost
What a
won
hero.
Like when you call in your dad to kill a spider
Yelp.
for you or something like that.
And that rock smushes what's left of them in the ground, leaving a huge number of them severed and cleaved in half, and a couple pinned under a rock.
Thanks, Easy.
What's left not being enough to be a meaningful threat, diving back into the ground almost as quickly as they arrived. That was the shortest combat I've ever run. MD happens when the fighter walks up and just crits immediately. MD, another couple keys, maybe a boot later, manages to
A lot of boots later.
a couple boots later, manages to kick open the door to this visitor center. It's not terribly reinforced. It is meant seemingly more for show. It's like a nice rustic wooden door matching the decor inside here that all of you but Moraeus have seen before. And as the group of you quickly hurry with your beds, your pillows, and everything out through the outside back into this room, you arrive in this, again, it looks like a woodland cabin. The big elk head mounted on the wall, the warm fireplace, the plush furniture, and the wood-paneled floor. The only thing out of place to Moraeus would be the clearly smashed bird cage in the corner right next to the door that looks like it has been bashed into a crumpled heap of metal, with several taxidermied birds just kind of smooshed and impaled throughout it. Otherwise, a very nice looking room. You guys got rid of the corpse, right? I'm pretty sure you guys got rid of the corpse.
Yeah,
Cozy.
I feel like we had to talk about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it got thrown out the front door.
Yeah, so that would be the only thing weird in this room.
And you said that those doors don't close if they're not locked or something?
They don't. I mean, they when you close them, they lock.
Oh,
the
automatically,
one to that admission one did. This one seems more normal and has a latch on the inside.
Okay.
That,
so the one to the mission locks automatically, what you said?
yeah, the one that you just came from back.
Okay, I was just worried
from
that
that
we
last
left the
room.
door
It just
open.
locks.
Okay.
No, yeah, that one. It can't be closed without locking. You all huddle inside here, pulling in a couple of beds and this straight-jacketed woman, and from here, there's very little left but simply walking back to safety, making your way back out from here to the admissions and across to the chapel area in the maintenance wing. You come through hauling a glorious bounty with you. You've brought back some cloth and some linens before, but as the group of you arrive in the chapel, you have 3 full-size beds that you are rolling on their carts. You have piles of pillows and sheets. You have a heap of medicines and some alchemical reagents to be able to mix more. This is... And all of you are basically perfectly fine. You took a combined total of 4 damage from the freaking pallid wrigglers, so you guys look perfectly fine, too. You cleaned up. This is a hero's return. And as you
We just
enter,
don't talk about all the other stuff that happened.
Yeah, they didn't see any of that. They don't see any of that. They don't
Yeah.
They don't see the story. They see the hero's return.
Yes.
You come in, wheeling these beds and their squeaky wheels to the immediate interest and admiration of everybody inside the chapel, who comes hurrying over to look at the things. And obviously, one of these is a straight-jacketed woman, atop it, which is a little weird. But
Why is it weird? We're in an asylum.
yeah, I mean, it's less to these people. It's much less weird than it would be to anyone else. It's pretty much immediately accepted. You've got half the people in here are staff employees, and one of them, Nasa, who comes over, looks down and looks up at the rest of you. Is she okay?
Well, she's high.
I'm sorry.
What, did you try to give her something?
No.
They got into the medicine.
I'm gonna look at Nasa. I'm sorry. Who are you?
What's is this a joke?
Who is she?
Oh, okay.
It's Nisa.
Right. I'm gonna pull out the patient files. You're Nasa.
Yes? And she takes, you just give her like the stack
Yeah.
of all of them? Oh, this could be very useful. Thank you. I can see what we're supposed to be giving, what the treatments were supposed to be. This is Jorana. She was one of my patients. I recognize her, but I don't know most of the rest of the people that were here. I didn't have Danae or Basily, or Loic is the only one here that was mine before this. Thank you. I'll go. And she just kind of hurriedly kind of backs and turns and heads away back towards the infirmary area. York and Winter quickly set about moving a couple of the beds over towards that same area as well to give Erwin and Bates something more comfortable to rest upon, something raised up that's easier to tend to them, especially Bates with his leg. And leave the group of you with the one last bed, Jorana, apparently, still bound atop it, and York coming back over to join the group of you. Well, this is great. Every time you guys come back, you've got something spectacularly useful.
Well, this one's an experiment.
Well, Nasa knows her, so it shouldn't be any difficulty taking care of her. I'll go ahead and assume that she's bound up for a reason, but Nasa will know what to do with her.
We don't know what's going to happen when this one falls asleep.
Well, we'll keep a close eye on her then. And make sure nothing bad happens as far as we're able. What did you see? And you guys could, is there,
Just recall everything.
other than Cammy
Yes.
and your exploits, is there anything you guys would not be sharing with York, Winter, the camp? Is there, you're not hiding
I don't
anything
think
from these
so.
guys? Obviously, Cammy's
There's a
not really
ghoul probably not tell Winter that there's a ghoul digging, because then she's going to want to go and
left him to his business.
Yeah.
Maybe, okay, leave out the ghoul, fair enough. But you get the details. You do include that you made it up to the outside of the cafeteria, to that dark room. Do you mention anything about your
loss
plan,
of voice.
MD?
My plan?
Your crime?
Oh, no, I've already mentioned to Tolman about it. I've already talked to him about it.
You did talk to him briefly. That's true.
I found the brother.
Yeah, I hold up my hand.
He's like the doppelgangers and the ghouls and Eliza. Whatever happens changed him. And he still, from the dream I had when I interacted with the administrator, he's attached to the lantern his younger brother has.
Well, that's, I suppose, not entirely an unexpected outcome, given everything we know about the situation so far. But that's the tool, then. Do you think you could do something with it?
I think something might happen. I'm outside of my scope of expertise, which at this point is 0. So,
Well, I can readily admit that so are we all, my friends. So are we all.
the problem is getting it away from.
Well, talk to Tolman, then. I suppose he's going to be your best insight into that.
Well, we did find the 2 action figure knight things that they had.
Yeah, I was gonna go up to the kids and give that to them.
And you, while they're talking to York, are you going as well, Trey?
Yeah.
With this, Marius and Trey would have split off into the side chamber where Tolman sits with the children. And as per usual, Tolman would have excused himself from whatever game or drawing they were doing to come over and greet the pair of you. Well, it's good to see there's another one that survived the foray out into the asylum and come back unscathed. Remarkably unscathed, in fact. You two look spectacular. You've got a small, and he just sort of reaches up and like brushes a little hole in the side of your coat where one of these things would have like latched on you. Small little something here, but
No big deal.
Well-
Although, we do have a,
Pull out the two. There's wooden carvings, right?
yeah, they're very much like wooden action figures. That's exactly
Okay.
what they are.
So pull those out and hand them to him.
think we might be able to get that shadow lantern.
And even as you pull them out, I mean, the kids are obviously stuff is happening, and
And I'm saying that quietly too.
I mean, they're
but
looking
I'm sure
over.
they're gonna
Are you-
see that.
yeah, are you trying to hide those from their
No.
view as you pull them out? Brent would immediately see that and drop what he's doing and come scampering over. He would even get up, move a step, and then stop, catch himself, turn back around, pick up his shadow lantern, and then come over, almost forgetting that behind him. And he hurries over and looks up. Those are the Talden Knights! They're the Lion Blades!
Yeah, we found him.
You found them? Those were my endeavors. Can I have them?
I don't see why not. Do you think it'd be okay for me to borrow your shadow lantern? It'll help find your brother.
Yeah. If I can have the knights, then
Just hand them to him.
he'll give you the shadow lantern. Perfect. I'll take the two lion blades. And then
Crime averted.
hurry back over. Maeve!
Oh.
Maeve! With one in each hand, just like, and he almost trips and falls on his face. He's so excited as he scurries back
he's
across
so
the room with his two little
cute.
toys. And Tolman's got a big old smile on his face. Well, that was easier than we thought it would be.
That's kids for you. Never know.
That's a good thing that you found those then. I really think he's just kind of clinging to anything he can find of his brother Demesis. And I don't think it was necessarily, clearly not the Shadow Lantern itself so much. But I think that's going to work then. You think that's going to dispel whatever magical ghost you found?
We don't know. But it's better than trying nothing.
I've certainly never been one to understand magic or occult happenings, I can tell you that much. My work is in alchemy and science. Things that can be measured, things that can be sampled and repeated consistently. Speaking of, not that I mean to press, but it sounds like you've, made it quite far into the asylum. There's a nurse's station. That should have been in the inpatient ward or the one up past the day room.
That's where we found that one in there strapped down. We brought back the tools.
You found something. Oh, this is wonderful.
If
I'll...
I remember correctly,
You did find, yeah,
all
you've
the
got a
medical
bunch,
stuff.
you've got some
Okay.
stuff. It's not like a great amount, but it's some things.
It's more than hands.
And even as you guys are talking with Yorick in the other room, the doors of the chapel would open again, and Marius, Trey, Tolman, and the two children would all come back into the chapel. Tolman hurrying up to the group of you. I don't know who has all of the things. Well, you guys can
Probably
present
just
him.
spread among everything.
Yeah, well, you guys can present him with the small amounts of glassware and alchemical tools that you were able to find. And he takes them, immediately starts sorting these things out into different piles with the different tinctures and medications that you've brought. Oh, this is fantastic. This is actually, well, it's not everything. Of course, I'm not meaning to demean accomplishments here, but this is exactly everything that we need to keep Loic at least well and safe for some time. And I could brew a surprising amount of pain medicine with this. This is great. This is a fantastic start. Thank you so much.
Happy to help.
It's all in a day's
And
work,
his
so-
face is like lit up. You get the feeling that while he's like, yeah, this is great, we can help people, he's almost more excited to be able to just do alchemy.
Let him cook.
Yeah.
He's the
Then
one
he is-
alchemist.
yeah, than he is to have this to be helpful for the camp. Like, he is excited to have all of this stuff. But he's looking through, piecing through things, and Winter counting through everything that you guys have had, sorting out these various pillows and things, people who need them the most. As she comes back over and gets caught back up on your exploits as well. And she nods and says, well, this is fair interesting, I must admit. I was here as well when this uprising first began, as all of us, and it seems we mostly have recollections of what we've seen. Perhaps, Marius, with our minds together, we could figure out more, or at least assess a solid basis of understanding of what we know about this cult, about Xandalis, and what it is that leads these patients.
Yeah, of course. Anything I can do to help figure this all out.
And she doesn't really have much to corroborate anything you don't already know. You actually, having been hiding in a hole out in the area, probably would have heard more than anyone else had. Of course, knowing of Grandma, knowing of these various interactions, and knowing of their near fanatical worship, their chanting of Xandalus. You were deep in their territory. You've got the best intel out of anybody. You are the new font of information here. You're the apostle expert. And in fact, a name that you would have heard them call themselves, I think you guys know this, but I'm not 100% certain, Apostles in Operment, as that they would refer to themselves as. That they would take up these gowns, these smocks painted with these yellow smears in the name of
Well, we have one we can interrogate now.
Xandalus. And you do. You have Jirana, who Nasa would tend to some, and would come back over to at some point explain this basic condition that you have here. Right. So Jirana was she was one of the simpler patients. Honestly, she just stayed in the communal ward. She didn't really need anything terribly intensive treatment-wise. She just it was a combination of two things. Really, she had a bit of difficulty. I suppose I'm trying to figure out how to explain this in a way that would make sense to people outside the medical staff. But I guess paranoia is probably the easiest way to explain it. She never really felt like she was safe. She always felt like there was something out there that was after her, or someone that was coming for her, and I don't think it really helped that she didn't have any visitors. She's been here for a while, but she came into my care maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. But she's always been pleasant enough. I mean, obviously, we were all here. We all saw what happened when the collapse happened. But she doesn't seem like the kind of person who has the capacity to be violent, even.
I don't know if it was the drugs or whatever Xandalus has been preaching, but she was definitely aggressive.
Well, if she just got into a medicine cabinet and didn't really know what it was that she was going for, combined with her paranoia, that could have made a really terrible combination. A lot of those could really make you lose touch with reality, especially several of them put together. And I don't know what she got into, but that's...
A little bit of everything.
Well, then that's the best explanation that I could think of. Although, group mentality is a very interesting thing. It's something that all of the staff at Briarstone are pretty cognizant of. Something we try to keep in the front of our minds. It's positive mindsets. One of our first big things we have to keep. We have to keep positive around the patients, because a lot of times patients, well, if they believe something is wrong with them, or they believe something to be true, it will be. You can manifest that. You have a surprising amount of control over your reality, even though it may not feel like it right now. But she might. She's no less impressionable than anybody else, I suppose. These apostles, this cult, this Xandalus fellow. It's with how many of them there are. I mean, it just becomes groupthink at that point. So you don't even have your own opinions, really. It's you just sort of fall in with it.
With the type of strange things we've been seeing around here, I can totally understand falling into anything that could try to provide answers or solutions.
Anything that provides safety for her especially. Given all of this, I can't imagine what all this must have been like for her, given her paranoia and her mental state. We've got trouble processing it, and we're all perfectly normal, rational people here for the most part.
Probably didn't help in the state that she saw us in first.
I don't know. I can't imagine. Even just what I've seen here, just little bits that I've seen, even that thing that attacked Erwin at the barricade, that was right outside the door. It was right here. I can't imagine what it's like further away.
Bad.
Bad.
I've calmed her down a little bit. I've given her a bit of the medicine that I've used for Loic. Now the Tolman said he could brew some more of it. She should be lucid enough if you want to speak with her.
Yeah, I think
Sure.
so. I think that would be good.
Would you prefer if I came along with you, just in case something was wrong? I could help. Maybe.
It might ease her paranoia.
Yeah.
Right. And the group you would move over to this gurney. She is still in the straitjacket and is still bound to the bed. They haven't released her from that at all.
I would not want that to be released until after she has slept,
Yeah.
just in case.
But she does seem to be much calmer. She has been treated a bit, although you did just knock her unconscious. Non-lethal damage is, in fact, still damage, and she has been very smacked. So she's got a patch of gauze just kind of taped onto the side of her face, and they've got a little poultice of some kind tucked in between her jaw and her shoulder up against her neck. And she just sort of looks across the group of you as you come over.
Are we crowding her? I feel like we're crowding her.
And they says, it's as long as we don't tell them, I'll just gather them around and move over her. I think it should be okay.
Hello.
My name's EC. Hello.
My name is Cammy.
Trey.
Marius.
Art, you all the lot that beat me.
No.
Well,
Just us
only
two.
some of us.
You
Sorry.
beat us too. You two. And she just sort of looks. You can't gesture anything. She's in a straitjacket. Just sort of looks at Trey and MD. I don't remember much of it, honestly. It's I don't know what I saw. I thought you were monsters. Look, I mean, not to be racist or nothing. Talking to the hobgoblin and a full-blooded orc, but
Actual monsters.
I don't know. It was dark. I couldn't see terribly well. You came bashing through the door.
We're covered in blood too. So didn't help.
Was I not seeing things then?
No.
Yeah,
There was a
wall
lot
blood.
of blood.
You may have been seeing things too, but
You
it was
seemed to-
also bad.
Yeah, you were
We
somewhere
gotta
else.
We gotta look. Thank you for. Then she looks at Nasa. Thank you for this, Nurse Walika. Thank you, but we gotta get back to Zandalis. We can't stay here.
Here is safe.
It ain't safe. Nothing's safe outside Zandalis. He's the only thing that can protect us from the Tatterman.
That's not true.
How does he keep you safe? Like, what does he
I don't know how he does it. He's powerful. He's the only thing standing between us and him. If it weren't for him, the Tatterman would have killed everyone. And a couple people in the camp are sort of like looking over. She's not super quiet, and Nate says, "Maybe we should wheel her out in the hall and talk to her."
Sure.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Right. And she takes that head and spin. She's like, I know, you're right, Shana. It's let's hold that thought for a moment, and just wheels her out and into the hallway outside.
Straight to the boiler room.
But just continues. No. You lot don't understand. There's nothing that can help us except for Zandalis. He's the only one with the power to keep the Tatterman back. He's the only one that's done it. Everyone outside the camp has lost their minds. They've died. They've turned into monsters and demons.
I'm gonna put my hand over her mouth. I'm gonna look her in the eye. The Tatterman has killed me twice now in my dreams. I'm still here. I'm still cognizant. Do I look like a monster?
She shakes her head.
So
little.
does that mean where we are is safe? The Tatterman can't get to me, he can't get to you. As long as you're near me.
You have the same magic. You got the same protection Zandalis has.
Yes.
Yeah, we have our own Xanda's kind of. Winter. I don't know if you see her. She has like long black hair. She's kind of like our Xanda's.
What does your Zandalis do? How did you come to find Zandalis?
Who is he?
He's he was the painter that was here. I remember him. He's been here a long time. He's been here much longer than I have. He saw all this coming. He knew it was going to happen. he said something terrible was coming, and that he was the only one who could keep it back, and he was the only one who could keep us safe, and he was, as far as we could tell. But he said everyone that didn't believe was going to turn into monsters, and that's exactly what happened. As far as we knew, we thought everyone outside was monsters. Everyone we've come across was monsters and undead and zombies and demons.
None of us believe him. We're fine.
Well, maybe not everyone then, but he is keeping a big group of people safe. He's keeping us. He was keeping all of us safe. He's the only thing sheltering us.
I have no doubt about that.
How many people?
Couple dozen.
He might not be the only source, though. None of these people have gone insane.
He can see it. He can see something inside you. I don't know what it is. I don't know how he sees it. I don't know what he sees. But he knows who's the most vulnerable and who's the most resistant. And he doesn't do it alone. He takes his anointed, his Anirigen, and they keep this. They keep whatever he does going. They keep the Tatterman back. He can't come for us.
You think he'd love to meet us then?
If you have the same power, if you can hold it back too.
Here's the funny part. The Tatterman's come for us outside and we beat them back.
Physically
beat him back.
With a corpse.
But he came in. Wait, he comes in your dreams.
He comes.
No.
He comes when you sleep.
Both.
He comes in both for us.
Because he can't kill us in our dreams. He tries to kill us in the real world. He can't do that either.
Yeah, if you die in your dream, you don't die in real life.
If you die in the game, you die in real life.
He takes our dreams. When we sleep under his protection, when the Anirigen are near, we sleep together. We dream together. We're all still there in our dreams. Xandalis watching over us all, keeping us safe.
And when we sleep, we can see each other.
Does Xandalis have like a book that he carries around? Like reads from maybe when he like does these.
Yeah.
What is
He's his I don't know, his book of rituals.
What's the name of that book?
I don't know.
No.
I haven't seen the name of it, but
Does he keep it like with him at all times? Does he keep it?
What it look like?
oh, if you were, I thought you forgot.
Yeah,
the
not talking to
No.
Marius.
Oh, like a book. I don't know. It's a pretty big book. It's leather bound. It's right, proper made. Looks expensive.
I think that's your book.
Yeah.
That's-
Oh, sorry.
He's
Go ahead.
It's his book of rituals. It's what he uses to keep our dreams safe. It's him and the Anirigens. They use that to keep us together, so the Tatterman can't come.
So that Anirigens?
Anirigens,
What is that?
I don't know. They're his chosen. They're the ones he brings upstairs.
Upstairs?
The ones that he thinks are strongest.
Upstairs?
I don't know. Never been upstairs. Most of us, we can't go up there. It's only for his chosen.
Question. Grandmother?
Well, grandmother, of course, is up there. But
Who is she? What is she to him?
I don't know. She's.
His grandma.
Is she in an origin too? Or
His
Well, I
grandma.
don't think she's in an Irigen. I think she's just the one that runs the camp. Really, her and Dr. Elborn
Right.
Dr. Alborn.
and Nasa. Furrows her brow. Dr. Elborn? She just nods, and Nasa just kind of looks at you guys and shakes her head. Right. Okay. Carry on, Shauna. Yeah, they just kind of handle us. I don't know. We don't see Xandalis much anymore. He only comes down when he feels something coming. When he feels someone's ready
Ready to.
to follow him upstairs
Or to become an Anirigen.
when they're chosen. When they feel like when he feels that they're strong enough to keep us safe.
Do you ever see these people again, or are they?
Well, no,
different?
I don't know what happens upstairs.
But they don't come back.
They don't come back downstairs after they go up.
No.
I know.
Sandalus is the anointed. Don't come down with the rest of us. They're busy. They have to keep the Tattermen away.
Well,
What if one of us falls asleep during the day and they're not prepared? They don't have their ritual together.
No, you're so right.
oh,
And Nasa's just kind of like wringing her hands as
Yeah.
this goes. She's like, ooh.
think
She takes a physical step back
Yeah.
from this bed, just kind of looking nervously across the group.
I think it might be pertinent for us to go and introduce ourselves.
I think you should. He needs more chosen.
But you should stay here with Nasa because it's safe here, and we can't risk taking you all the way back right now.
And Nasa kind of takes like a deep breath and steadies herself and steps forward and just puts a hand up on Gerona's shoulder. She's like, yeah, I've kept you safe before, and I've never let you down, have I, Gerona? And she just shakes her head, no, Nurse Valaka. I'll keep you safe here, too. Nothing bad's gonna happen here, see? We've got big, strong fellows, too. We've got our own, way of doing things, and it's you'll see. You don't have to worry. And,
Sounds like we saved one person from the death cult.
what's up, the rest of you guys? Is
Here.
there,
Where is the camp? Or
It's in the rehab.
it's in, no, the cafeteria.
on the other side of the dark,
No, it's the cafeteria. That's the only space large enough for all of us.
other side of the dark room.
We couldn't figure out how to get back. We were
Yeah.
hoping that
We
You
will,
don't have to worry
we'll take
about
care
it.
of that.
You are having medical attention, and we'll go take care of that for you.
And everyone here is super nice and very welcome.
if
Yeah.
we didn't think there was anyone, well, just still a human outside. We thought everything was monsters. If the group of you go up and you talk to Grandma and talk to Sandalus, he needs help. He needs more.
How many in Irigen had there been? You said there's like a couple dozen of you guys.
I don't
Is
know.
that counting them?
I don't know, like maybe 4. It's not often.
Okay.
He's only taken like one or two a day. He had one before everything, but that one's gone. We've only got, I don't know, 3 or 4 now.
What happened to the first one?
Oh well, we used to be in rehab, but the monsters chased us out, and they kept the Anaerigen with them. I guess we couldn't fight them. They're monsters. There's too many of them. They're strong.
Well, you got us there. There's a lot of monsters.
They have a terrible, terrible thing, like a big horse beast thing. It's
Oh.
I don't know what it is, but
Like an undead horse thing?
yeah, or
Like
something.
mushy.
It's like I don't know,
eyes.
4 or 5 people stuck together.
Oh,
Oh.
it's people horse.
It's like a people horse.
Okay.
It's got a bunch of
We've
arms,
seen
bunch
it
of legs.
before.
It's a
worry.
big thing, a big
We've
beast.
dealt
and
with
I
this
wouldn't-
before.
It's just 3
We're well
people in a
versed
zebra
in
costume.
people horse.
I wouldn't think about it too hard.
Well, the thing's strong. It's stronger than 3 or 4 people. It was throwing.
Is it horse people or people horse?
It was throwing our people across the room.
If it's a horse,
Oh.
it's different.
Oh, okay.
I
It
think I'm
smashed
stronger.
Sander through a wall, a stone wall, right through it.
Nice.
No horse
The
people.
weakness is the zippers where they link them together. If you get those, it falls apart.
We'll deal with it.
Well, if you're gonna like double the amount of if Xandalus thinks you have it, you'll more than double the amount of anointed that he has. Surely would be strong enough to fight back against him. The monsters couldn't even touch us then.
Yeah.
We
No,
wouldn't have to
we're
worry
gonna
about the
be-
wall.
Yeah, we're gonna be super
The wall.
anointed. It's gonna be super cool.
The
wall.
wall, the wall of the cafeteria, the literally just the wall. It's not much of a wall. It's mostly collapsed. They have to keep guards there to make sure the monsters don't get in.
Oh. DMZ.
Well,
Might be best to get some rest and let us deal with this.
I'll take her back inside, Joanna. We'll make sure you're going to be very safe. Don't worry. And thank you for bringing her to me.
Can we have a quick word?
Yeah, I just want
Just like one quick word with you, Nisa.
Yeah. I'll be right back. Let me just take her into the infirmary and leave her with Winter a bit. I think one of her, what is it? It's terse or sext or one of those prayers is soon what she uses her magic. And she'll just kind of like as the thoughts trailing off, wheel the bed inside and leave the group of you for a brief moment before Nasa would come back out by herself.
That's not a real doctor, is it?
Yeah, you had a weird reaction to Elborn.
Yeah, there's not a Dr. Elborn that I know of. We got maybe a dozen, close to 15 doctors on staff. Really? None of them are Dr. Elborn. That's not a real doctor.
Maybe not a medical doctor, but maybe you like studied something different.
Oh yeah, like a doctor, like in literature or English.
I don't know. The name's not familiar to me, so.
Not a musician.
I don't know what to tell you.
Traveling professor.
We'll
keep
a
an eye
doctor
out.
of.
Just be. I don't think I really have to tell the group of you to be careful. If you're going into the cafeteria, sounds like it's where they all live. So be safe, at least.
We'll figure it out.
Well, it sure sounds like there's a lot of them.
Maybe they will let us have an audience first,
and then we'll get super.
When this
anointed.
all first started and everything fell apart, this makes sense. They already were a unit. They were already together. I was getting some things from rehab when everything fell apart, and that was definitely where Xandalis was, and everything started. They all just sort of came up together. They went into storage. We had a storage tower up there, and a couple of our orderlies tried to stop them, but there were 10 of them. We pulled them all back, and we went to go get more help, and I was just thinking that was weird, so I just sort of waited. Things happen. Group psychosis is a thing. But they came back out with anything they could find as a weapon, and just started going to town on everyone they came across, and I ran, this way, back when that hall was still intact, and then almost immediately afterward, the earthquake hit, so, and then everything else showed up. It was a weird time. A lot of things happening all at once.
We'll see to whatever they're doing. We'll take care of it. Just keep doing what everyone's been doing here.
Right. Well, we'll keep things going. Are you heading out now?
I don't see why not.
Fairly early. Might as well. We need food, so the sooner the better.
Yeah.
I think, you guys have been great so far. Everything. Well, you're alive. You've gone out there and you're alive. That's amazing. Honestly, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
Did you? No, I don't know. I was gonna ask if you needed anything, but I don't know what I could possibly do to help.
No, we're pretty good for now.
Well, okay then. Thanks again for bringing Joanna back. I know it probably seems strange, but she was one of my patients. I've had her for a while. She's a very nice lady normally. And I feel it makes me feel like there's still hope for everyone tied up in whatever is going on. If she's fine and if Ormond's fine, then maybe we can help most of them. That's what Firestone is for, right? That's the thing that we do. That's why people come here. And we sort of, I don't know, I feel like we sort of failed everyone. This is a tangent. I'm gonna go. Be safe. And
just nod her off.
Just kind of a smile and an awkward little wave, and she heads back in the chapel, leaving the group of you there in the hallway.
You remember who that was, MD?
Has she always been like that?
Yeah. Are you doing okay?
Remember, first time we came up to the gate, paranoid with the crossbow.
I remember the name. I don't remember the face.
Oh.
Interesting.
That was in your file, right? So, what's happening?
No, that's the retrograde, what we had. That's the whole thing.
But you had the
The other
Oh,
one,
you got another one?
Tolman explained to me it's the inability to make new memories. I'm doing that perfectly fine.
Could have something to do with being stuck in the dark. Who knows?
And Blue just kind of shows up on Cammy's shoulder and just sort of points at you, puts his hand together, and just
Oh, head trauma?
Head trauma.
one for yes.
Okay. It's just a concussion. Just, don't go to sleep.
It's already the rules of the game.
We're already doing that.
Okay, well, it's not great.
Yes.
But it's. a
You
known
remember
condition.
meeting us?
I remember meeting you.
It's me, MD. It's Cammy.
I remember leaving the basement.
Remember Compra?
And in that moment, as you're thinking back, you remember something else. You're standing in what looks like a yard, a grassy yard next to a large oak tree. A huge stone and iron fence in front of you. It's well kept, a well-maintained lawn of some kind, and crumpled up against that wall is the body of a man with his skull absolutely caved in.
I'm thinking out loud. I do say that. That didn't happen here. We haven't seen an oak tree.
No.
You're not like a well-kept grassy yard.
No.
Well, that's a memory I didn't have before.
Maybe they're swapping.
Something lost, something gained, I guess.
Something blue, something borrowed.
Well, there is some good news. We can go open the administrator door.
I have some better news if you are not derp. Bringing back another rescue
you
from the cult.
Do
and
it.
Oh.
Seeing the situation back here at camp, getting the medicine, not having to rob a child. It's a very positive atmosphere here. And you all feel a twinge of hope in the back of your minds. Everyone roll me a stress check.
No, that's fine. I have hero points.
I'm starting this at Marius.
18.
You lose one stress. MD,
4.
you stay where you are.
I am re-rolling my 19.
Oh my
Your
gosh.
pointing is 19.
Just to hold on to what you've got.
To a 4. Yes.
Stay where you are.
10.
Cammy, you stay where you are. Easy.
8.
You stay where you are. Well, Marius feels a little
Marius,
better.
Yeah. I like to think that
I-
you're
it's
just
like a bad Monday. for
Yeah,
Marius.
it's been one bad day for Marius. It's not nearly as bad for him.
and you're being like
The-
a pessimist, being like meditating on the bad.
I'm not really able to take in the whole situation, not remembering who Nasa was. Now I'm like recounting everything, trying to figure out where there's holes. That's probably why my stress hasn't improved any. It's a new type of
Yeah,
stress.
no, it's a different, you have very personal, vivid stress now.
Now, hear me out. If we've established that MD is getting memories back after suffering head trauma, I think you know where I'm going with this.
Let's all hit each other's
Hit
head.
me.
I just in the back of the head.
Get a big
Oh,
book.
yes.
Roll me a d4.
4.
You take 4 points of non-lethal damage.
And you gain a memory.
And then
As
gain
you
a
just
memory.
get whacked in the back
And
of the
again,
head as
I
MD just
solved the
smacks you.
puzzle. AJ, I
And
solved it.
It hurts.
Here,
And
let me give you the non-lethal treatment I gave to that cultist.
You remember that getting hit on the head hurts.
You remember? Yeah, that's pretty much it. You see Blue show up on your shoulder and just kind of like tilt his head at you and open his little hands like he's shrugging.
They're wise.
I swear he's trying to communicate something.
And he just reaches up and grabs your nose and then just clips 2 for no. And then disappears again.
Right. Well then, this isn't getting anything done. We'll just worry about that later.
We can go drain the blood and use the normal way.
And then MD feels like a nip on the back of his jaw as you see Blue just disappear again.
A lizard. I just look at him. So she asked me to do a lizard. Are you expecting me? She's being stupid. She gets a stupid treatment.
Hey, nobody gets to call me stupid except for this guy, but he's on my shoulder as I point to my head.
Alright then.
Off to admin.
Yeah, do we think the blood will drain from the other side?
So you can. Where is it you want to go right now? You want to go back? You can go back to Lysandra's office. You're on this side. You can get there through admissions. And what is your plan exactly? Open the door there and let the blood just kind of drain through?
Then we have the hallway back.
But
That's
then
true. You have the
blood's in
hallway back.
emissions.
You can certainly do that. The group of you make your way back up through the administration area into Administrator Lysandra's office to the door, which now even has the carpet in front of it stained with a trickle of the blood that is leaking through the seals around the edge of the door. Already it has started to run down the floor and down the southern wall of the office, leaving the room looking like a much more horrific state than when you had left it. Already, it has run nearly all the way down to the door in which you enter.
Putting the boot bags back on.
You what?
Putting the boot bags back on.
Oh my gosh.
We know what to
So you
expect.
plan just open the door?
No.
Well,
Standing upstairs.
Yeah, have everyone upstairs out of the way, and I'm going to stand like behind and away from where the blood is. Like from the logic of what it's been doing, going to continue doing, and
The
then I will
difficulty is
open.
it's an outdoor.
Oh, it opens
Because that was why Cammy was able to use it as cover.
That
Because
would
it
go
opens out into the
blood.
blood.
I can
It's a lot of pressure on it.
I can open it remotely.
I'm gonna brute force it.
Wait before.
That's way too much weight for Mage Hand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. That's the problem. It's like,
I'll
it's way
give it
too
a
much
try.
weight for like MD and Trey together. Like that's like you would destroy the door before you got it open. So you're gonna destroy the door?
Yeah.
You stand back behind me. There's no like time pressure or anything here.
I will
Give me a reflex save.
All right. 11.
Total.
Yeah, I have a +3.
As you boot the door from the side here,
I'm
trying
bloody
to,
again.
you stand on the inside of it, but when you get this to crack, pushing against the incredible force, this pile of blood. The blood shoots through in a spurt, and then that door explodes. That hole becoming the size of a torso from the pressure gushing through it as the blood
My
sprays
torso
across the room.
conveniently also becomes a hole.
And it hits you and just kind of knocks you tumbling across the floor. You take, I don't know, 1 bludgeoning damage.
From the top of the like stairs or ladder and like the little thing, you just hear a tiny wipe out.
It was 1 bludgeoning.
And then the
damage.
blood pumps out like if you had punched a hole in the side of a jug. Pumps out, but instead of falling down to the ground,
In the
falls,
side of a jugular. Hey.
falls to the west. More pressure at first, and then that fountain kind of receding towards the southern wall as the level of the blood gets down to level with the door. Filling the western side of the room with a thin couple-inch pool splashed across the wall. And it's not even a couple inch actually, because it would go all the way up to the second floor. It would just like spray out and just be a puddle that doesn't even coat the entirety of the western wall because it's 2 stories tall. But would continue to sort of trickle through the hole at this point. You could open the door pretty easily. The rest of it washes out, and you could pass it as hallway again.
Hurrah!
We did it.
Problem solved.
Good job,
So
team.
I'm gonna hand the Shadow Lantern over to MD
Yeah.
because he's the one that had the dream. I don't know what he saw.
And you find yourselves once more before the doors of that dark room. Opening them, you see nothing different from what you saw originally, just pitch blackness, a void so dark that the area just outside it even gets a little darker, as if the darkness itself were beaming out like it were light.
I'm gonna take the candle out. There was a candle inside the lantern.
Yeah,
right?
it's like a little paper shadow. It's
Yeah.
like the kind of thing
Yeah.
that's got like things cut in the side
Yeah.
of it so that it projects like a shadow of
really
like
cool.
a little
I love shadow lanterns. Light
Okay.
the candle. Light it in his lantern and put it back in, and I'm just gonna. There's nothing. If you hear me say "come in,"
Don't.
and I'm not out,
Should we tie a thing?
I'll
around
leave it
you
to
again?
Cammy's discretion.
Excellent.
She made a wise decision.
just
in
I
this.
stand at
straight
the. Or do we have you roped again, chained?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand
And
at
a
the foot of the
leash.
chain and pick up a little bit of the
And
slack.
I just take a step in with it in my hands.
As you step into the darkness, you can't immediately tell if anything happens with the light of the lantern. If it's still lit, if it's still glowing, the flickering light of the candle sure is not reaching your eyes. You descend once again into this complete and absolute blackness. You don't hear anything. For the first time, you start to hear the sobbing before anything happened. You're just like holding this in your
I'm
hand.
just holding, like I'm offering it out.
You take another step forward, and you feel a tug against the lantern lifting up out of your hands, like something was taking it. A moment passes before you see the single flickering flame visible on the ground at your feet. The light only casts out a few inches from this lantern. The elongated silhouettes of the scenes carved into the side of it cast out into the darkness. But on the tile floor, you see a single piece of paper with a simple charcoal sketch across it. It is a small little stick figure with some little raggedy hair and a big smiley face, holding the hand of a smaller little stick figure with a smiley face. And both of these figures with their free hands are waving at a much larger green figure.
Oh.
His mouth, two pointy little triangle tusks, his arms up with two round little biceps. And all of you outside immediately see the room come into view as the darkness fades away entirely, leaving the flickering lantern in the center of the chamber. The light on the candle goes out.
Kind of cautiously step into the room.
Immediately explode.
You can see it now. The room looks like it exploded. Whatever furniture, there were several racks of saps and nightsticks and simple blunt weapons. There were padded restraints, thick orderlies' outfits, glass lamps shattered, all of it as it blasted to the outskirts of the room, crumpled in just heaps around all four edges, leaving the room completely and utterly barren, save for the unlit lantern and this one little charcoal drawing on the ground in front of MD. And a pair of doors on the far side of the room.
You gotta put that drawing on the fridge somewhere.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is a really good drawing.
It's really good.
Pick it up. I'm gonna take the lantern and put it into the rucksack. If I don't think it's gonna damage it, if not, I'm just gonna leave it here and come get it later. Gotta return that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get the toys back.
All right,
And
then.
we get the toys back.
Hell yeah.
Priorities, man. Priorities. Cool action figures.
The two doors that lead forward into the room beyond are a little different from most of the rest. They are made of a lighter wood, up with a kind of thick metal reinforcing panels at the bottom of them. They look like they just swing together. They don't have a post in the center like most of the double doors throughout the asylum. They don't even look like they might not even necessarily latch entirely. so much as they just like kind of separate the space from here and the room beyond.
I'm going to pull out my club and my dagger because we don't know what's on the other side of that door.
Can we hear anything through the door?
As you move up to the door, you can hear voices. Just talking, having conversations, pierced with occasional laughs. You can hear what sounds like the crackling of a fire. But it's a little distant. It echoes around.
We might as well open it up.
So game plan is diplomatically? Do we go in there and be like, we say parlay, and then they have to let us talk to their leader?
Yeah.
Parlay, it
Parlay
works.
always
I'll
works.
hang back in this room.
Should we crack the door first to see if we can kind of just get a look first?
We could
before
ask to
alerting
be
them?
evangelized.
They're probably guarding it.
Fair.
I'm gonna hide back in this room.
Just kind of around the corner.
Just around the corner where they can't see me if they don't walk into the room.
And I'll go ahead after he's in position and just open up one of those doors.
You open the doors and step forth into the cafeteria of Briarstone Asylum. And immediately, through the sprawling scene before you, you see dozens of heads turn. Not in unison, almost staggered, as the people nearest the door immediately, kind of in surprise, notice it opens, and then a couple of people notice them looking, and it kind of ripples throughout the room until more eyes than you can even remember seeing in your state are upon you. This gigantic space here is no longer a cafeteria. It looks like the village camp of some distant tribe. Burning braziers stand and yellow tents erected of posts and bed sheets spread all throughout this area. Portions of the western and northern walls have collapsed entirely, and a large chunk of the ceiling in the back is wholly gone. This room is completely open to the outside of Briarstone. And further on the back side, the thick yellow mists churn and roll through the space. The whole room tinted with their presence. Two sets of wide staircases rise up on the eastern side of the room. And around these stairs are nearly a dozen bodies, posted up, crucified on bed racks, random timbers, pipes, whatever they could assemble to support the weight and fill the area. Dried crimson blood streaks down these posts onto the floor, implying they were clearly alive when they were placed. As all these faces look towards you, you see a mix of shock and fear and curiosity across dozens of cultists, all wearing these smeared yellow robes. Nobody says anything.
Parlay? Parlay?
Parlay!
Hi there.
A couple close to the door kind of scoot back towards their tents, towards their little groups, around their fire, huddling closer together, not really sure what to do.
We were told Xandalus runs this.
They don't respond.
We fixed the darkness.
You
We're
hear
We're here to help.
some footsteps coming down the nearest staircase. Ooh, here's our little display here. Here's some footsteps coming
That's a
down the
lot of
nearest
people.
staircase. Some 20, 25 feet away. They're kind of slow. They're not even. It's more step, 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 step of someone working their way down one stair at a time. Until you see a woman come around the corner. Very old, hunched, wild mane of gray hair framing her face. Her eyes almost like bugging out of her skull. And a bright pink jacket drawn about herself. And she looks across the group of you, almost kind of slack-jawed.
Hey, Grandma.
The way is clear! The crusade can continue!
Whoa.
And many of the cultists turn to her, and she raises up a hand.
None will darken Xandalis' halls any further!
And several of the cultists start to rise to their feet. Some reaching for weapons, not really sure what to do. Grandma's gaze, wild, toothy smile, panning across the party as we end today's session.
No!
Always.
I have good news, and I have bad news. The bad news is this in general.
We all get 3 sanity.
The good
Or
news
insanity.
is that you get 3 something. You get 3 level.
Yeah,
3 more levels. How
You're
do you
know
know?
what? You're 5 now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to level 5 before you tell me what my archetype is.
You'll come up someday, I promise. When we return next week, the party will be level 3. They are going to need it as we move into the final chapter of this first entry of Strange Aeons.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations, guys! You found the
That
cafeteria.
went fast.
We unleashed the crusade.
The Crusades can continue. The darkness is gone.
Unless
The
we
cult that dramatically outnumbers the church is no longer stuck.
But we said parlay, so they
You
can't.
did
Yeah,
say
they
parlay.
can't.
They legally can't. That's
They legally
pirate code. They can't.
That's pirate
But they're not
Have to-
pirates, they're cult.
Ooh,
She-
does parlay work for cults?
No, it
I'm
doesn't.
pretty sure it's universal.
That's not, though. You would know, actually.
We should have come in with a yellow flag.
Thank you. That would have actually been an interesting idea. Thank you, everyone, for joining us to see how this resolves or what we do with this situation. You'll have to join us next week. Next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. I haven't forgotten about you. Don't worry.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
a plan.
Okay.
But there's plenty more
Narcolepsy.
before this. Also narcolepsy.
It's
No.
contagious, yeah.
No. But also, we have some other things coming on. I believe tomorrow we are. I'm gonna admit I'm not entirely. We're not doing. Okay, I wasn't sure if we had a thing tomorrow. Sentiment ended, right? Sentiment is over now. But Monday we have Malevolence, our other spooky themed Pathfinder 2nd edition. Low-ish level, the smallest character has a gun adventure.
Sounds familiar.
That's just growing more and more parallels the longer this adventure continues.
Great
We
minds.
switch seats.
Yes.
I sit over there.
I sit
Sully
over
sits
there.
up here. We have a whole lot of family drama and absolutely no family trauma, and everything's a great time. We all get along. We don't have any
Yeah.
problems.
Really good.
It's super good.
I
Honestly,
watched
it
like
is.
2 episodes of it.
It
'cause
is real good. It's if you want some more Pathfinder in your life, definitely check that one out. 7 p.m. Monday. Until then, enjoy your weekends, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe.
Bye.